Live to survive. Going live to survive. Chiggy, 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 Shimon. Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body like me, but I gotta think twice before I give my heart away. And I know all the games you play because I play them too. Oh, but I need some time off from that emotion. Time to pick my heart up off the floor. Ooh, when love comes down without devotion. Well, it takes a strong man, baby, but I'm showing you the door. 'Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith, faith, faith. Baby. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Hello, everybody. Limp Biscuit. No, that was definitely closer to the George Michael version. I was not doing the Durst version. Gotta have faith, faith, faith. Whoop, whoop. So I don't know. I don't even know. I'll wait. Well, let's just fucking let's have a woo-saw moment here at the beginning of this, and then I'll get into the salty realities of things. George Michael's is actually dope. I agree. I mean, I liked George Michael way back before he was even like a solo artist. He was in Wham. They had one of my favorite 80s songs, like one of my favorite songs, probably. Careless Whispers, dude. Careless Whispers, though. I mean, come on. Careless Whispers is a vibe. Yeah, not Wham. Wham! I said it wrong. You're right. Finally started The Wire last night. Not sure exactly what's going on yet, but I'm getting it. Yeah. It takes a while. Like it'll suck you in. Trust me. It's a sprawling show, and so it takes a while for you to be introduced to all the little chess pieces in it. But trust me, if you stick with it, I think you'll enjoy it. Get through like the first half of the first season, and by then, if you're not hooked, maybe it ain't for you. But yeah, the first few episodes of any big sprawling show like that are kind of tough. Tonight the music seems so loud. I wish that we could move this crowd. Baby, it's better this way. Oh my God. We could have been so good together. We could have danced this dance forever. But now there's nothing left to say. Please stay. I'm never gonna dance again. Hey, new here. Hey, buddy. Welcome to the cesspit that is the fucking rubble that is left of my original channel. This is where the rubble fell. We stand upon the ruins of a great ideological civilization, and now we're here. And we're over here. Just trying to say what we think, Seeing how long we get away with that. Yep, that is true. If you're new up in this bitch, then you might be lost. You might get your ass banned like Hawaii costs. So true. It is, that is probably on me. I think this is pretty insular. It's probably hard to get somebody who doesn't know me to even consider watching one of these. And I've known that for a long time. These are very insular. If you know, you know. If you like it, you like it, and if you don't, it's really not all that accessible to you. I don't know what I should do to try and make it more accessible. I don't even know if I really want to be honest with you. I don't really care. I feel like, if I'm streaming to 60 people, I'm fine with it. It usually tops out at like 120 or 130 people. I'm fine with it. I really don't feel like I need any more personalities up in this bitch. I pay too close attention to the chat in here. The more people there are, the harder it is to do that. Paul always seems to be on a new channel whenever I look for him. No, that's not true. I mean, I had the same channel for since 2007, and then it was banned. And this is the only side channel that I ever had. So if this goes down, then I'll have to make a whole new channel. But I've been pretty consistently in one place since about 2007. Steamboat Willie. Doot, doot, doot. Don't I have like Steamboat Willie? Yeah. Yeah. I love that fucking shit, dude. I need to start using that more. I need to start using that drop more. I feel like that would be perfect to accompany a lot of articles that we read. There's something about it. First DP, then DFF. You got ideology, and now poltergeist. I can't keep up. Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. You kept up. I mean, you're here. you know, you figured it out. Sounds like a class of fourth graders playing their recorders. I know. It's so scuffed. That's what's good about it. This just sounds like something that's barely scraping by. You know what I mean? Like at the last minute, the fucking band that they booked, stiffed them and didn't show up. So they gave a bunch of they got the second grade class to come down and play on their recorders, and it's just barely getting by. It's like limping by. That's what I think of when I hear it. I love it, man. That music is in my head a lot, dude. Oh, I love it. Yeah, that is Biden should walk out to that. Hey, everybody! Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That really should be. That really should be. Why did they make us learn to play those recorders? I don't fucking know, dude. But I could play Good King Wenceslas on a recorder. That's all I know, dude. I knew how to play Good King Wenceslas on the recorder. Hot cross buns. Yeah. Hot cross buns. Hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny. Hot cross buns. Hey, Paul, I just got married last Halloween. Any advice for a happy, lasting marriage? I mean, like, no disrespect, but what makes you think I'm a good person to talk to about that? I mean, I'm a fucking once divorced guy, remarried. I don't know. You got to figure that shit out for yourself, bro. The idea that somebody could really give you salient advice on how to handle your own relationships, I think, is at the root of a lot of failed marriages, honestly. I think one of the reasons why marriages fail is that people allow other people's interpretation of what a marriage should mean and how it should be conducted to interfere with what's best for them and or their partner. I think chasing the kind of societally pressured, white picket fence, 2.5 kids lifestyle is at the heart of, I mean, it was definitely at the heart of my divorce for sure. Being far too influenced by other people's opinions on how I should conduct a relationship, I think led me to subvert my expectations and subvert what I actually wanted out of life in favor of adopting, like, what all my parents and friends and family and social circle was all kind of silently screaming at me to do. Do you have children? I do not. Thank goodness. I mean, thank goodness for sure. That I know of. Yeah, that I know of. No, trust me, my body count, as you kids say these days, is not high enough for me to really worry. Like, I still know what's going on with all the women that I've fucked. I've never had like what I would call, like, I don't know what you would call it, like a hookup type sex. I've never done that. I've never wanted to do that. I don't think I could do that, to be honest with you. When people tell me they're pregnant, my first thought is why. Yeah, me too. Like, oh, really? Weird decision, bro. But I guess, like, what am I supposed to say? Congrats, I guess. Weird decision, but congrats, I guess. Yeah, your life's over. Like, cool. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely speaking from my personal position and not the position I would have had 20 years ago. I was definitely embroiled in the attempt to procreate at the age you would expect. The universe gave me a pass. Like, whoops is usually the answer. Yeah. Like, oopsie daisy. I accidentally did the condom. Oh, oh well, guess there's a human life that's dependent on me to the end of mine and beyond. Awesome. I tell people my condolences. Yeah, that's a good one. I think people would get butthurt if you responded that way. Because you're not like, there's like, that's another area where there's a lot of social pressure. Somebody's like, oh, okay, we got something to announce. We're pregnant. Everybody's supposed to go, oh, goodness. Oh, congrats, guys. That's such good news. Like, and if you don't, you're kind of like, you're a killjoy. If you try to inject a little fucking reality into that situation, that is not, you know, that's not what people are looking for. But I think more people ought to do that. Maybe that's happening more now. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know if I knew what my true perspective was. That was part of the problem. You know, Scribe says, "Do you think you would have had that position back then if you were living your true perspective, not what others were pushing you into?" I mean, like I said, there certainly was societal pressure, but the truth of the matter was, is I didn't even really know. Like, I don't mean to quote, um, I don't mean to quote Post Malone, but in his song "Go Flex," there's a line that's always in my head. Well, that whole song is in my head because I played it on repeat and tripped on acid 2 days straight. It's seared into my brain. And there's a line in that song uh, where he says, "I don't even know what I'm chasing no more." Um, and that's kind of how I feel like I felt at that age. You know, my 20s, mid 20s. I I I feel like I had a lot of passion, and I feel like I was just not primed to accept the realities of who and what I was. And I will tell you this: the relationship, my failed marriage, my first marriage, um, there was a heavy overtone of changing me into something else, and it's not something I really noticed at the time, but having been outside of that influence, it was rampant. This idea that the way I was wrong and I had to be more like this. You know, oh, you spend too much time by yourself. It wasn't like, oh, there was no acceptance of my need to be alone sometimes. And if you say it like that, it doesn't seem like much to ask. You know, hey, I'm a person that values. I keep my own counsel, and I value having time on my own. I always have since I was little. But for some reason, that part of me was a problem that had to be fixed, and that I really struggled mightily against for a good decade of my life or more. Paul, thank you for the divorce advice thing. I'm maybe starting to feel slightly better. Maybe my feet. Yeah, yeah, you're fine, dude. It takes time. You just got to ride it out, dude. It sucks. It sucks no matter what. You know, there's no like happy thing that you can tell somebody going through that. But other than it gets better. Like the wounds may not heal ever, but this scab over, you learn to live and work around it, and you end up in a happy place at the end. And the new perspective too sinks in. It's like you kind of start to see things that maybe you had ignored. No, I don't want kids ever. Yeah, no. I can't even imagine procreating at 55. That's fucking insane. No, not a fucking chance, dude. Nope. Being single is good. Yeah, for some people, like, look, dude, I don't really think you can make prescriptions. Like, being true to yourself is good. That's what's up. I think divorce is like losing a loved one. If you lost a loved one, you got a glimpse of how divorce feels. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it compared though to that. Wait, you're 55? No, no, no. I'm 43. I can't imagine procreating at 25, dude. I was trying. I was maybe not at that age. At 20, by 27, I was trying in earnest for sure to procreate. And yeah, thinking back on that, that's crazy. That's fucking nuts. I don't know what the fuck. But you know, like I was pretty aimless. I had pretty much abdicated responsibility for my own being to other people who had better ideas of what I should be or how I should be. And you know, I don't think that works out very well. I mean, it didn't for me. It just about fucking cooked me mentally. Just about put me in a position of untenability mentally. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not crazy fit. I have never been crazy fit, so you know, I mean, my thinking is a little more along the lines of, you know, how old I am. John X says hi. Oh no, not John X. Why did you invoke his name? How dare you? How dare you invoke that name? So, all right. Warm up done. Here's why I started the fucking shit tonight. I got real salty earlier. I know. I know what you're thinking. Well, that's weird, Paul. Yeah, you got salty. Crazy. But the truth of the matter is I, you know, like I get salty on the show, but I'm not like I don't really get at that. Like I live a pretty calm life. I do. I live a pretty peaceful fucking calm life. All right. On my and today's like today's like a day off, you know, for me. So I could be doing anything I want today, pretty much. Like there's no agenda for the day. I can do what I want. Give or take. I mean, you know, there's always an agenda for a day, but you get my drift. And what did I do? I decided I was going to continue watching Demon Mama critique the discussion that TJ and I had with Vosh. I still maintain that there was no debate. And I hate how the word debate has been debased to mean just any kind of fucking political argument or whatever. But whatever. I'd started watching it yesterday at some point, and you know, whatever. I was just kind of like playing it in the background as I gamed or whatever the fuck I was doing. And then we did the show, and I kind of talked about it on the show. And then today, you know, I was kind of getting up, and I guess my brain was like, you know what, you probably want to get real salty today. BreadTube is kind of cringe. I mean, whatever. Yeah, kind of maybe. But so is everything. Everything's kind of fucking cringe, honestly. Including people that say things are everything's cringe, you know, like it just case in point. So anyway, I was watching along, and oh man, I don't like Demon Mama, and I really like. I said it on the show, but I have a hard time encapsulating why I don't like Demon Mama. But I found a couple examples of why I don't like Demon Mama. And I don't know, man. I guess we could take a look at it. Like, I got so fucking salty earlier that I don't want to do it again. And it's going to be hard for me to fucking, like, find some of this, too. It's really, like, maybe, I don't know. I can try. God, I don't like Demon Mama, dude. All right. I'm going to pull it up. All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull it up. All right, you guys will have to tell me real quick if you can hear this. All right, I'm gonna play a little
of deliberately designed time wait times.
All right, can you hear? Can you hear her? Can you hear the mother of all demons? Okay, everybody, you can hear. Okay, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it, and it's gonna suck. I didn't prepare this. I didn't do my due diligence here, but there's a point where somebody in Demon Mama's audience asks what a neocon is. Let's see, is this it? The only thing I remember is that she pulled it to full screen like this, and that it was in the latter half of this somewhere. So let's see.
Mostly focus on
Yes, I found it. So here we go. Let's get to the beginning of this. This is your dislike? Well, just like, this is what I don't like. Okay. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of this. And this is really, I think, at the heart of what I don't like about Demon Mama. And like, honestly, a lot of bread tube, I guess. It rubs me the wrong way. Let me give you an example. Okay. Just listen to this.
But that's not happening. They've been moving left, like, considerably.
The Silent Chloe says, "What the hell is a neocon? I've been hearing it a lot, and I have no idea what that is." A neocon is a neoconservative. It is
Okay, true.
It's a term that refers to a type of conservative that tried to break from the old conservative model.
So she hasn't said anything yet. That doesn't. So, like, I'll play more of this, but to get to the point, what she should have done here is gone like, I don't know, let's go look it up. But she has to pretend like she knows so that she seems authoritative to her audience. And she cannot define what neoconservatism is. So far she said it's conservatives that have tried to break from normal conservatism. Okay, so let's see what else it is.
Neocons are like they tended to be war hawks. They tended to be very prim and proper conservatives. A lot of people considered George Bush a neocon.
So this is all just like literally browsed the fucking Wikipedia on neoconservatism one time level answer to this question. Nothing is not there. She did not define neoconservatism at all because she doesn't know what it is. And this is a problem because I can guarantee you if I went through Demon Mama's content right now, she would be using neoconservative as a pejorative over and over and over again when talking about some fucking right-winger's content. But Demon Mama does not know what neoconservatism is. So if you wanted to be real simple and real broad and make a real broad definition of neoconservatism, what you would say is conservatism with a particular focus geopolitically towards projecting American power and American democracy onto the third world. That is what made neoconservatives stand out from traditional conservatives who were less likely to support war. It was the kind of rebranding of American military adventurism with we are spreading democracy to places. It is, and not only that, but it's our duty. America is a shining city on the hill globally, and it's our duty to project those rays of light all over the world. And that would be the baseline description of neoconservatism. She doesn't know any of it, but she goes on.
Then it is juxtaposed against neo-libs. A neocon is like George W. Bush. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was exactly saying.
That doesn't mean anything. And we'll talk about her lack of knowledge of George W. Bush here in a minute, because it plays a role. It's the second example of this. But that doesn't say anything. Saying neocons are like George W. Bush, that's not defining neoconservatism. I don't think Demon Mama has the first idea where the idea started, or what it was, or how it was applied.
They're the type who like they mostly focus on as far as personally, they mostly focus on business interests and
that's traditional conservatism. That's not neoconservatism. So now she's just rattling off a very layman's definition of traditional American conservatism. Neoconservatives didn't have any particular fucking affection for business that normal paleoconservatives didn't have.
Making America a business country and, you know, bringing back the American way of life versus juxtaposed against the hyper-Christian type of conservative that used to...
No, God damn it.
Right before the whole Israel-Palestine...
Oh, shit. God fucking damn it. Paul's ego. Want to be done. It's okay. Now we know at least, like, whereabouts it was. In here. Somewhere in here. Yeah.
Is when you have a looming threat that needs to be defeated, but people can't realize. And so what...
Okay, is this
actually have rights and to do permanent damage to
God
the
damn
ability
it.
for...
See, dude, I had it. Now I've got to go back and find it because I clicked on the goddamn fucking bar somewhere.
Donald Trump's focus. Spend a lot of time drawing comparisons between America and Nazi Germany, but can you imagine you so much just a silly European getting ready?
Dude, I got so lucky. Does anybody remember where that fucking timestamp was? God fucking damn it. Anyway, I was done with it anyway. The case in point, that is the reason I don't like Demon Mama. She has the air of somebody that feels like people are coming to her because they think she's like super erudite and knows everything about everything, but she really doesn't. Like, I think she tosses around neoconservative as a pejorative, but I don't think she defined it at all there. 40703. Oh, you're the man, dog. You the man now, dog. 40703. Okay, so it was right in here.
And you know, bringing back the American way of life versus juxtaposed against the hyper-Christian type of conservative that used to be.
No, that was Christian nationalism. Christian nationalism was all about fucking returning America to basically the 50s way of life, including the racial social order that existed at that time. This is not anything that's unique or different to neoconservatism. Neoconservatism was primarily focused on an aggressive American foreign policy that involved American intervention, regime change in the third world, and the replacement of those regimes with American-friendly democracies.
They are the business-focused conservative versus the bread and Bible conservative.
No, the bread and Bible conservative was also the business conservative. They weren't anti-business. They were very pro-capitalist, like the American, and I wouldn't expect Demon Mama to know anything about the history of this. but the genesis of the American Christian nationalism movement in the Republican Party, particularly, happened pretty much during and just after the Reagan administration, when the moral majority is what they started calling themselves, group of high-ranking Christian politicians and pastors, basically gave an ultimatum to the Republican Party of, if you want us to vote for you, you're going to have to start serving Christian interests, which is funny because it undermines a lot of what Demon Mama and Vosh had to say. Demon Mama says in this, I won't be able to find the exact quotes, but you can go fucking watch it. She says in this multiple times that we have no power over Joe Biden. We have no power over politicians that are in office. But here she is talking about Christian nationalism, not realizing that it was people in these Christian nationalist organizations that sent a message to Republicans like, if you want our support, you're going to have to start paying way more lip service to Jesus fucking Christ. So that's the genesis of the American, Christo-fascist tendencies of the Republican Party as it relates to modern politics. It had nothing to do with neoconservative thought really came to fucking light in America right around the Reagan administration, but it really blossomed and bloomed fully in the Bush administration. And has continued unabated, by the way, by both Republican and Democratic president alike.
In truth, there's not really that much of a difference between the two positions. But
no, there's a really big position. There's a really big difference in the position. This position was, so it was traditional tax and spend liberalism being applied to the war economy. And that was something brand fucking new to conservatism. This idea that America should just perpetually support foreign nations after spending blood and treasure to conquer them and replace them with friendly governments was an entirely new political aspiration for Republicans.
There was an aesthetic difference, and there's a slight different tactical approach. Yeah, yes, establishment conservatism. A lot of neocons became never Trumpers because they felt that Donald Trump was a threat to them. Corporate conservatism. Yep, exactly. I say that they have a little bit less.
I mean, just the fucking just the ignorance of the topic. Note that regime change is not going to be mentioned once. Not going to be mentioned once. Because she doesn't know what the difference between neoconservatism and traditional American evangelical conservatism is. She doesn't know how they became it's not like there was a departure from conservative thought. Conservative thought molted and changed. And she can't elucidate how or why because she doesn't know. But she's got to seem authoritative to this chat that's got her on a leash over here. This is why I don't like Demon Mama. I would have infinitely more respect for Demon Mama if she just went like, you know what, I throw that around a lot, but I don't really know. Let's look it up. Because if she looked it up, she'd find exactly what I'm saying. And then she'd know.
Less focus on the bread and Bible, but in truth, they still do a lot of that, just not as much. You will see like a neocon is much more likely to be willing to like work with a bunch of like secular corporations as long as it's for the good of America. Whereas traditional conservatism is like, if you're not Christian, get the fuck out.
I guess. So that's example number one. I want to skip to the very end of this part. She went on, and there's more to this, but let's see if we can find out. Like, I want to give context because I don't want to be accused of like taking a clip out of context or whatever the fuck. Because I can guarantee you that's exactly the type of thing that Demon Mama would respond to this with. She'd say I lack context or whatever. So I watched this whole thing, and then right at the end is what really fucking got me salty.
Oh man, it's bad. And I know that Vosh has dipped into this a couple of times, but he's kept it very brief. This has been like 15 straight seconds of impersonation. Oof. Don't do this at Thanksgiving dinner. Yes, exactly. Don't do this at Thanksgiving dinner, okay?
Obama, out of curiosity, do you genuinely think that being like, I don't know, what, 45, 40, whatever, means that you have like some hidden insight into politics that isn't possessed by people who are merely 30? Like, is that like the bar you fall into where you're legitimately doing the like, well, no matter how wrong I am, at least I have slightly worse knees? Like, what are you getting at?
I'm making the position that people, when you live through something, you might have something to speak to that a person that didn't live through something wouldn't. And I think you'd agree with me on pretty much any other subject, except like if I was a Hiroshima survivor, you wouldn't be here going like, oh, you think you know more about getting a nuke dropped on you just because you had a nuke dropped on you? You know what I mean?
This is reaching nostalgia critic tier. Are we?
Yeah, they love it when Vosh does shit like this. But me doing it is cringe. Me getting mad, cringe. Vosh getting mad, based. It's just like such a little fucking rah-rah cheerleader. But about like the smug look on Demon Mama's face here. And she's about to reveal profound historical ignorance of recent American history. This is the face of a person who's smugly chuckling along with the Vosh narrative that I was unhinged or whatever the fuck, that's about to like give proof positive that she has no fucking clue about recent American history. You ready for it?
Do you think
you disagree? I don't think you would disagree in that instance.
Gives you like a degree
I don't think you would disagree. I don't think you would disagree in that instance. But for some reason,
no, I would happily tell a Hiroshima
survivor. This is so silly too, because his argument is just bad. Even if he remembers what George Bush was like and it was bad, it's just there's just so many fronts on which Donald Trump was worse. Donald Trump was everything that George Bush did and worse.
No. Wrong. Which is why I make the argument that maybe lived experience has something to fucking add to this. I know Demon Mama was crapping in her demon diapers when George W. Bush was president, but to try and say that she literal quote, we can hear it again if you guys want. Donald Trump was everything that George W. Bush was, just worse, is a fucking lie. An out and out fucking lie, born from what I must assume is profound, recent historical ignorance. Profound. George W. Bush presided over the end, while you were still shitting your diaper, presided over the end of your right to privacy. George W. Bush demonized Arabic people, Muslim people, to the point that they were being killed in the streets openly here in the United States. Mosques were burning. George W. Bush has 1 million bodies on him from Iraq. Another 1 million bodies on him from Afghanistan. Trump did nothing that even approached that. You couldn't even make a half cogent argument that anything that Trump did even approached 2 million fucking bodies. Period. And you're sitting here smugly dismissing my argument that maybe you ought to pay attention to recent history. And maybe the fact that I lived through it as an adult means maybe you ought to listen when I say things aren't as different as you seem to think. But no, remember the smug chuckle earlier that literally preceded by less than a minute this hyper ignorant statement? Let's hear it again. Let's run back that tape one more time.
Are we,
Do you think
you disagree.
having a nuke dropped on you gives you like a degree
I don't
in
think
physics?
you would disagree. I don't think you would disagree in that instance. But for some reason,
no, I would happily tell a Hiroshima
survivor. This is so silly too, because his argument is just bad. Even if he remembers what George Bush was like and it was bad, it's just there's just so many fronts on which Donald Trump was worse. Donald Trump was everything that George Bush did and worse.
Wrong. Historically ignorant. And this is in your lifetime, so you have no excuse. You have no excuse to be ignorant about this and to proffer this fucking bullshit onto your audience. You don't have the least fucking clue. If you would even, dude, you don't understand. George W. Bush is probably the most vile war criminal of the 21st century. You'd be hard pressed to find another that even fucking stands in his shadow. So for you to make the absolutely ahistorical claim that the Trump administration, dude, in the first 4 years of the Bush administration, he had embroiled us into not one, but two massively destructive wars that left a generation of American soldiery crippled, mentally fucking deficient, and dead. Left 1 million Iraqi lives in the fucking dirt. Left 1 million Afghani lives in the fucking dirt. 4 years in. For you to even compare that to the Trump administration betrays a profound fucking ignorance of basic recent American history. Why would I listen to any of the prescriptions that you have for the future of this country when you were fucking ignorant on the recent past? It's another perspective issue. She went through Trump as a teen, 20-something, so it feels more impactful to her. Right. Right. But that's why history exists, to give what we call perspective to your argument. You can argue Trump was horrible all fucking day. He was a shit president. But to even insinuate that he was even on the same plane as George W. Bush in terms of fucking destruction of human life, erosion of our fucking rights under the Bill of Rights of the Constitution, just betrays a profound childishness. And if that is the basis of your politics, why would I listen to a fucking thing that you have to say? If you are so dismissive as to when somebody invokes George W. Bush to just say like, it doesn't matter because Trump did everything he did, but worse, just portrays a profound fucking ignorance of reality. And if that is the basis for your political prescriptions, why would I follow a single one? This is why I don't like Demon Mama. This is why I don't like Vosh. I don't think, Phoebe, I would be fucking shocked if Demon Mama has ever cracked Das Kapital. I'd be shocked if Demon Mama had ever even fucking held that book in her hands. And it's not age that matters. It's historical perspective that matters. It's knowing the recent history of the movement that you're cheerleading that matters. Vote blue no matter who. Putting up with weak, shitty, ineffectual Democratic fucking nominees cyclically led to George W. Bush. Handed him the election. Led to Donald Trump. Handed him the election. To keep supporting these cyclical fucking losers and then to call yourself any kind of a fucking radical leftist? Like, am I mistaken? Isn't Demon Mama, isn't she a communist? And she's here simping for Biden and saying Trump was 10 times worse than fucking George W. Bush. Give me a fucking break, Zoomer. Yeah, now we're going back to Trump because the Democrats are so fucking weak that they can't even put up a marginal combat against a fucking orange buffoon. And you want to keep supporting that. And you don't want to you don't want to do everything in your power to fucking halt that system. As a leftist, you want to just let that system continue to grind queer people to dust, poor people to dust, immigrants and migrants to dust, third world people that live in the fucking third world to dust. Unreal, man. The lack of fire in this generation is fucking this like post-irony shit. Where everything, like they accuse me of like rolling my eyes. That's what they do. That's all they do. They just go like, oh, come on, man. All we can do is what our parents and grandparents did. Look where that's led us. Right down the fucking shitter. The world is ending. Wake up. We used to be a can-do country. Well, I don't know about that. If you're not too salty, Paul, I'll chat with you on Discord about this. I don't even know where we would go to chat on Discord, Nikki. I don't know how, like, I don't want to cause a big fucking kerfluffle over in TJ's Discord where some fucking mod has to jump in or whatever. And I don't know how we would police that. I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. If you've got a way to fucking do it that doesn't involve inconveniencing a bunch of fucking mods over on TJ's Discord. I still want to chat with you on Discord too. I mean, whatever, like, do it, but you guys are gonna have to fucking figure out, like, how do we do it? You want to add my Discord account? I mean, like, how would you get that to me though? Like, with you want to just give everybody your fucking Discord? If you want to put it in chat, I'll add you. But I mean, I'm a mod there. I don't see how it would be an inconvenience. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Like I said, I don't want to cause any fucking bullshit for anybody else. We want to do a direct call or whatever, and you've got some, but please don't fucking waste my time, Nikki. Like, honestly, I'm asking you fucking seriously. Like, if this is just to troll me or get me salty or whatever, I'm already fucking salty, dude. Like, there's no need. Like, I'm already there. So, you know, if that's what this is, then I'm asking you, like, as a long-time viewer, to just not bother. If you think you've got something fucking salient to say about this in disagreement, then we'll do it. Oh yeah, it's Mardi Gras over there, huh? I'll go have fun. Go get you some beads or whatever. I like that everybody gets beads now, and you don't have to show titties for beads anymore. That's nice. That's very progressive of Mardi Gras. That was very nice. All right, I have a message request. No, that ain't you. Okay, so yeah, like what? How are we hooking that up? What do I do here? So I'm fuck it. I'm willing to do it. You know, I'll hold off for now. I'm kind of upset about your analysis. I'm probably gonna. Well, no, I'm fine with getting more upset. But if that's your only fucking, like, you know, I was just saying, don't troll. You know, if you've got like a genuine fucking thing, I'm willing to do it. Like if you genuinely like have a point you want to try to make about this or something else, I'm fine doing that. I just don't want my time wasted. Like I'd rather not do it if it's just to fucking get under my skin or whatever. I have enough of that, you know. But I'm fine doing it. I mean, you've been calling for a fucking Discord showdown or whatever the fuck, so. I mean, all right. So that's your shit. So I just gotta try and add that, I guess. How do you add a friend? I hate this bullshit. I think it's probably just looking at my fucking shit, I would imagine. I mean, a bunch of people have my shit anyway. I could probably just give you mine and let you add me or whatever. This is such bullshit. I hate the internet. I hate the internet. I mean, how do I? Yeah, I just don't do this shit. Like my Discord is basically like it's. I'm pretty sure it's just Paul's ego. I don't know how you're supposed to like. Let's see, new group DM. Just waiting. I'm online. Okay. All right. Find or start. See, I have a friends to add friend. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just sent a friend request. I found it, I think. I think they just made it easier to find people or whatever, but. Okay. Yeah. We're there. Okay, so you want to call me or let's see. I got to put us back up on the fucking screen and everything. I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be on the screen, but I've got to share the audio. Do. And then I can do this. Okay. Yeah. I'll just call you then. What is the point of this? Nikki wants to critique my position. What is the point of this? Hello.
Oh, okay.
So you'll have to mute the stream while you're on with me.
I muted it.
Okay, cool.
Yep. I also just muted the rest of the stuff in my room, like my fan. Is my audio coming in good?
Yeah, no, you sound fine. Can everybody? Yeah, it looks like everybody can hear you, so we should be good.
All right then. So you're pretty salty right now. So I'm trying to like analyze your analysis without making you even more salty.
Okay.
Yeah, I've actually. Well, yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't say sorry. I didn't do anything.
Nope.
I have a problem with that myself. But it seems like your analysis of you said something about you don't like her descriptive positions on things because they seem profoundly ignorant. So then you're going to go ahead and ignore the prescriptive.
Yeah.
Do you see that as a logical fallacy?
No. I think I see that as pretty basic. Like, I mean, it's like the principle that science is based on as well. Like, if your understanding of the root of your scientific specialty is wrong, then your prescriptions are going to be flawed. If you don't know what you're talking about, you shouldn't talk about it. You should learn about it and then talk about it. You know, like that's not hard, especially in this day and age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. I felt that her analysis on it was, I mean, it was okay for just like a political edutainment streamer, which is what she calls herself.
Sure.
At the end of the day, we have to keep in mind that all these people are are
yeah, none of us are educators. None of us are like professional educators, right? So
no, it's all about show. It's all about showmanship. You know, so like
some of it is. I mean, it is, but it's I mean,
it's all about that.
It's about your argument too, though. It's about showmanship for sure, but it's also about your argument.
Well, it would be about the argument if it wasn't for the medium that it's hosted in. YouTube itself is a company, and it's run like a company, and people who participate it unknowingly or not are perpetuating its construction. It's social.
Sure. I mean, I'm super critical of YouTube as a platform as well. I get that. I don't disagree. And I'm not saying that we should look at Demon Mama and hold her to the same standard as like some kind of fucking professor. She clearly isn't, and I'm not trying to do that. But I do think it's disingenuous to run across a question from your chat and to try and answer it and not really know the answer, you know? But try and like, because then you end up like all the young people in her audience now, if they're asked like, oh, dude, what does neocon mean? They're going to go like, oh, it's basically just like, you know, I don't know. Like, they're going to get a bullshit answer.
Do you disagree with the fact that George W. Bush was a neocon?
No, I don't. But saying George W. Bush was a neocon doesn't inform me what neoconservatism was, especially when she shows herself to be so profoundly ignorant of George W. Bush's impact that she would say that Trump was everything he was, but worse.
Yeah, that's another point that I have disagreement on. Again, when we look at politics, we don't necessarily we do look at actions, but we look at reciprocation.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm with you so far.
Right. So, if Donald Trump, let's say hypothetically, were to be in the same position that Bush was in, do you think he would be any different? 9/11 just happened.
I honestly don't. I don't know. The answer to that is I don't know. I don't know. Donald Trump was pretty adverse to committing American military power during his, like, that's one area where you can't really fault him in the shadow of like Barack Obama, who was much more aggressive with drones and shit than Trump was. Certainly can't compare him to George W. Bush, the predecessor to Obama, in terms of military aggressiveness, which is a huge, you know from listening to me, that's a huge part of my politics. I'm a very anti-war leftist.
Of course. So, but if we look at the politics at the time, especially after World War II, sorry, I meant to say 9/11. I meant to say 9/11. It wasn't just George W. Bush that was becoming a war hawk. It was established throughout all of the superstructures in America.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, that's another thing that I kind of disagree with Vosh and Demon Mama on. Is I think they underrate the power of the presidency. Like, I think they forget that the president is the leader of their respective political party. From them flows the agenda. From them flows the mandate. It's an incredibly important place to be. And I think it's underpinned by this, just go vote and then be done with it. It's like, we need to really think about who we're electing to be the most powerful person on the planet.
Right. But the superstructure, the reason I said this term superstructure is because while the president does have power, the power itself is not necessarily unanimous. And not only that, but they are influenced by capital, and capital itself is the main critique when we look at these things. Looking at a president just in and of itself would be very surface level. You have to look at the not politics, but the driving forces of those politics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cannot take capital. You cannot take authoritarianism, conservatism, all these different things outside of the equation.
What the fuck, dude? Wait a minute. Did you see Craig Y just came on the stream for a second?
Craig Y?
Yeah, Craig Y, the serial killer, just popped on the screen for a second.
Oh shit.
AKA TJ Kirk just popped in and then popped out.
I don't wait.
I'm doing I'm doing
TJ
this.
Kirk is Craig Y?
Oh, I didn't say that. You didn't hear me say that.
The most infamous serial killer of all time?
Yeah, the greatest serial killer of the modern age, Craig Y.
Oh fuck.
Get back in here, TJ, you piece of shit. Get your fucking stinking ass back in here, TJ, you bastard. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Would you would you make the statement that Trump was everything that George W. Bush was, just worse?
So what I would probably do is I would probably go into that with a different kind of analysis. I would say, given the same circumstances, they had the potential to be the same, because it's not. I'm not necessarily
right. They had we're not talking about potentiality here, though. We're just talking about the impact of, we can even limit it to the first 4 years of the Bush presidency and the first 4 years of the Trump presidency.
Well, I don't really look at politics that way. It'd be like saying who was the greatest boxer of all time, like Muhammad Ali.
Well, there are measurable things, though. So do you think that Trump, do you value human life?
Do I value human life?
Do you think human life, okay, so you don't believe that human life,
not intrinsically.
Right. No, I understand that. I agree. There's no intrinsic. I'm not asking about intrinsic, though. Do you personally think, would you, if you if Nikki was queen of the world, would you try and limit suffering to the greatest extent as ruler? Do you think that that's how power should be? One of the ways power ought to be projected. Limitation of suffering to the greatest extent possible.
Theoretically, if I were to answer your question and to theoretically assume that this is how I believe my politics works, then sure.
Okay. So in that case, do you think that 1 million lives matters? Like the loss of 1 million Iraqi lives, many of them children.
What does it matter if it's children or not?
Well, I mean, like I said, once again, we're operating in a system where we both agree that there's no intrinsic value to pretty much anything.
Sure.
But the reason why I think children are underlined in these types of situations is because they are literally incapable of not only participating in the political climate that's created in war, but defending themselves at all. Right.
There's innocence there.
Right. They're utterly dependent on other human beings to take care of them. And that makes them the most vulnerable people in our society. So that's why I mention it. But we're talking 1 million Iraqi lives, over 1 million and change Afghani lives, 2 million and counting. I don't care how creative you get, you are not going to tie 2 million deaths to fucking Donald Trump.
Right. We're strictly looking at numbers here, and we're trying to extrapolate further upon that. Right.
Right.
I personally believe that is a little bit disingenuous. Only because do you know anything about football?
Yeah, sure. I know how it's played. I know some teams.
Right. So when we look at past players, well, this could be said for almost any sport, pretty much. There are some people in the past, especially, that still have records to this day that will probably never be beaten. But to say that they are superior to players nowadays would be disingenuous. Do you believe that? Like if we were to pit two players nowadays, like a player from the past versus a player.
A lot of that has to do with, you know, I mean, this gets into the doping argument, right? Because
100%.
a lot of that has to do with just the difference between the type of steroids that may have been available 40 years ago versus now. You
right,
know.
and that's the analysis that I'm attempting to do here, because the one thing that I fear is when we specifically look at numbers alone, we're not actually looking deeper into the philosophy or the ideology of these people. I truly believe that if Trump could flip a switch, he would make himself dictator of America. And
I mean,
that to be true.
George W. Bush said that. George W. Bush literally said it would be easier if I could just be dictator.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like he said
all
it.
people in power.
So
all people in power
he's
kind of
not,
believe.
but that doesn't. It's just another example of Trump. Like this idea that Trump's empirical aspirations are new is just wrong.
I'm not saying they're new.
Well, I know you're not, but I feel like a lot of people that I'm arguing against on the regular are. They're trying to paint Trump as some kind of anomaly in American history. And for the most part, all the things that people are afraid of in Project 2025, it's been standard fucking conservative think tank fucking talk since I was a kid. And when I said that, Vosh scoffed at me, Demon Mama scoffed at me, oh, the whole fucking chat of both of those people scoffed. And it's just like, and that's what I'm talking about. It's historical ignorance. It's trying to paint rose-tinted glasses on a past that is fraught with horrible bullshit so that the now seems like it's more impactful than it is.
So I don't necessarily know if Demon Mama said that. I can't make that claim. I don't remember seeing that in the video of her critique of the debate. I know Vosh said that, and he basically said that if you don't understand that Trump is worse, then you're ignorant of history, which like on a very surface level that could be true, I guess. But I like to look at politics a little bit deeper than that. Again, it's one of the reasons where I am not a vote blue no matter who person. I'm not even a third party person because when I look at the system in and of itself, I don't think that a third party would be able to accomplish the goals that it would set out to do. Much like I don't believe that the Republican Party would be able to do most of Project 2025, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like we're not at the stage of accelerationism where these institutions have collapsed to the point where outright like fascism is fully taken over yet. We're getting there, but it's not happened just yet. And I think that the liberalization of our politics is attempting to stay away from that. But again, liberalism is by itself it develops into fascism, and there's nothing that can avoid that.
I mean, I tend to agree broadly with that, but you know, I don't know. Like it seems like we're like my whole position on this, and the reason I'm bringing it up is I feel that if you're going to go in front of an audience of thousands of fucking people and give them political prescriptions, that it probably behooves you to at least know the basics of the history of the tactic that you're promoting, because it's like saying I don't want to learn from when this has been done in the past. And that's how I feel like a lot of these mostly younger political commentators that have flourished in this new streaming environment. I feel like that's a lot of them are hanging their hat on that peg.
A lot. You have to also keep in mind that a lot of these channels are liberal in nature, especially Vosh. Vosh itself is a liberal project. As much as he probably wouldn't like me saying that, I actually use a term for Vosh that is kind of tongue in cheek, but it's tongue in cheek, but it's also kind of serious at the same time. I call him a loser leftist.
Sure, I've heard like their dirtbag left or whatever.
Well, not dirtbag left. that's a different thing
Okay.
having to do with like patriarchy. Loser leftism is the idea that like leftism itself is in a losing state. So in order to perpetuate itself, it has to liberalize itself, which is the same thing that happened to like the social democrats earlier or later on in like this the Soviet Union. It's basically a form of de-radicalization, working within the system, entryism, electoralism, all these things. Like the other day, he was talking about like, if you're a leftist, you shouldn't be calling out like certain things that make you alienate the general public, which in and of itself is part of assimilationism. It's an assimilationist mindset.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, these are very broad. You're broadening the discussion to include like.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons, and it's not just you that I have this problem with when it comes to like online politics and stuff like that. I just watch you a lot, and I find you and the other podcasters funny. I don't know. I don't always agree with you guys, but it's just a funny show. I mean, like we saw Craig Y come in here.
Yeah, that's true.
I find that funny.
He just dropped in and then fucking left, dude. Fucking Craig Y.
Well, he's busy, probably killing some people.
I guess so.
I heard he actually stabbed a banana monkey.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I had not heard.
I don't know if that's true, but there was a message that was sent out from Banana Monkey's family.
Oh,
said
shit.
Get well soon.
God damn. That son of a bitch, Craig Y.
Yeah.
A jeweled
John X
dagger
is gonna
in
have
the
to put
door.
him in his place.
Yeah, John X is on the case, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, so like the main problem that I had with a lot of your analysis is you were willing to allow yourself a simplistic answer to these conundrums or to these political to this political endeavor, but you were not allowing the others like Demon Mama or Vosh to do the same, which is just a fault of everybody involved. Like I don't think nothing about politics is simple. I don't think that like lesser of two evilism alone is the reason that like George W. Bush got elected. I think if you look deeper into the system, it could tell you why he got elected. A lot of it having to do with like the patriarchy and capital, all these different reasons, and the perpetuation of the superstructure.
Sure. Yeah, no, I don't necessarily disagree. I do think that cyclical lesser of two evilism is definitely bears a lot of the fault for the position we find ourselves in politically now. I don't think it bears all of the fault. I think you're right that there are other superseding pressures that are kind of pushing things in the way that they are. But I mean, knowing that and acting against that, I mean, I think.
Well, you're big into conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I have like this almost conspiracy theory where I don't think, and I can't verify this or know this for sure, but I don't think that if Bernie Sanders was elected, he would, like, in all honesty, I don't think he would have survived his term. I think he would have found himself having an accident very early on.
I mean,
does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I mean, I think the
quote unquote accident.
The 60s were fucking insane. I mean, you saw Medgar Evers killed. You saw Dr. Martin Luther King killed. You saw Elijah Muhammad killed. You saw.
And that's also
Hampton.
Pretty funny when Vosh said, "Oh, we can't strong arm like these different politicians into voting with Biden." That's how things are done.
Well, that's
politics.
That's the basis of the civil rights movement, which I'm sure Vosh supports the outcomes of. But how we got there was not voting Democrat. You know what I mean? Like we got there because people divested themselves from the system and got in a critical mass that was unignorable to the political class, and they had to be dealt with. They had to be appeased. And that's what I'm
Right.
calling for. I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for a rejection of the overarching dynamic of red versus blue that just has us chasing our fucking tails, and for the mass mobilization of humanity. I think, that there needs to be another hippie movement. There needs to be another movement of people that are sitting in the National Mall for 6 months,
Right.
refusing to move
Do you
until.
mind if I do like a thought experiment?
Sure.
So your ultimate goal would be to get a third party elected, correct? One that represents the people.
No,
Because you
I mean, yeah, that's
Okay.
that is part of the tactic that I would support, but it is
Mhm.
not like really the end all be all. Like ultimately, my goal is to mobilize like people into throwing themselves in front of the fucking gears and saying not any further until we're addressed, because I don't think that we're going to get what we need until that happens. So ultimately, a third
No.
party is, I mean, if that's the tactic that people want to use, if that pushes us closer to, people dropping this fucking media narrative driven division amongst us and just like coming together economically, if nothing else, and saying like, hey, we want to be able to buy a house, we want a living wage. Like, if that's what it takes, that's what, I'm fine with it, but it's not, I don't think it solves the problem.
So I am like super, super left. I'm so left to the point where I don't even actually believe in democracy. Which I know is going to be like kind of crazy for you. But do you mind if we do like a little thought experiment about a third party gaining power?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
All right. So let's say the political system stays relatively the same, except we introduce a revolutionary third party, which it would be like a revolutionary position to hold in America.
Sure.
Like, okay, trying to stay realistic. How many seats of this third? We'll call it third way, just to make fun of Andrew Yang. We'll call it the third way party, or what do you call it? The forward party.
Forward, yeah.
Yeah, not left, not right, forward, whatever that means. So we'll just tease him a little bit by calling it the forward party. How many, with our current situation now, and considering that we're talking about a revolutionary act, how many seats do you think that the forward party would be able to obtain in an election cycle? A current election cycle?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. It depends on what kind of political movement is backing that revolutionary party. I think it could fall anywhere from a tiny number of seats and just a kind of tiny introduction into the two-party system, like a little crack in the edifice. Right. I think it could be sweeping, depending on how many average people adopt it. It just it depends on participation, I think.
So I don't necessarily think it would be sweeping, much because of a lot of the corruption within the system itself. I think particularly a third party would have really big troubles with super delegates, which would actually, if it were a revolutionary act, would actually cause them to have less seats than they normally would get in like the 2025 elections, right? Or the 2024 elections.
Maybe, sure.
So
But I assume that the Democrats would be interested in caucusing with the third party over the Republicans. But if they ended up caucusing,
are you confident with that?
If they ended up caucusing with the Republicans, I think that would push us even closer to replacing the Democratic Party as an institution, though, because then it would be people would definitely see no difference, and so they would kind of meld into one party, and then we'd be back in a two-party system, but with a vanguard party at the head instead of fucking the DNC. Like, I could see that being possible.
Okay, so let's say this third party comes in and we have like a third party president, right? Let's say Andrew Yang.
Ugh, okay.
Sorry, I can pick somebody else. Let's say Craig Y for some reason.
Okay, Craig Y, sure.
All right. So Craig Y gets in there, and one of the things he wants to do is to stop oil drilling.
Okay.
Right? How much revenue happens with oil drilling And when we stop that, what's going to happen to gas prices? Because we cannot immediately build a whole bunch of different like wind farms.
I would assume gas prices are going to go up, up, up.
We're looking at astronomical prices depending on how quickly.
I mean, this already exists in Europe, and Europe has responded with massively expanding public transit. I think it needs to happen here too. I'm all for gas going up. Gas going up means we're closer to addressing the problem of having a gas-based fucking economy.
I would personally prefer just better public transit.
Well, yeah. I mean, how are you going to get there, though? You're going to have to make it, you're either going to have to get people to decide to give up their cars, or you're going to have to put it in a position where it's untenable for them to run them anymore. And I think that the latter is probably more likely than the former.
Do you think that position would be unpopular with the people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be unpopular until those people were living in a urban environment that was benefited by easy, cheap public transport. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna like any massive societal change, you're gonna drag everybody kicking and screaming, no matter what. We let that stop us. We may as well just give up on the idea of leftist revolution at all.
Well, I don't necessarily want to give up on leftist revolution. I just want to give up on this entryism that we have with a lot of leftist thought. This is one of the reasons that I'm actually anti-democracy, because when we look at democracy, we look at a lot of the reproduction of the capital system. And we do that because the American system itself is built for gridlock and change. Gradual,
well, yeah, but I mean, isn't the American system just kind of nominally a democracy? I mean, it's a profoundly undemocratic for a democratic institution. I mean, yeah, it's got all of the hallmarks of like an aristocracy. We've got multi-generational family presidents and shit. I mean, we got everything that fucking monarchies
but that's
have,
always,
like
I feel
got two completely divided houses of like the people's house or whatever that are largely just subverted and overruled by the executive class and the judicial. It's very much, like very undemocratic. So is it democracy that you have a problem with, or is it just like Americans' watered down version of democracy that you have a problem with?
Well, when we look at different democracies that developed in different parts of the world, we see similar things that happen. Truth is that the way society is currently run, it is very complex and you need a lot of expertise. And so we elect people into those positions. And when you have power, ultimate power corrupts. I see it as the One Ring. I know I'm getting a little nerdy here, but you cannot use the One Ring to defeat Sauron. Why can't you do that?
Well, but then because you become Sauron and doing it.
You become Sauron.
Right.
Exactly. So when we look at these different institutions and how they're built,
wouldn't 99% Sauron be better than 100% Sauron, though?
I don't. No.
No. Oh,
why?
That's crazy.
Why would that be?
I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
I mean, maybe 98% Sauron would be better.
You
get like Ice Cream Tuesdays.
That's true. That would be nice.
No, like, so, and this is, again, one of the, Vosh said this the other, and keep in mind, I don't hate Vosh. I think he could be funny. I watch him sometimes. I've been a part of his community for a while.
Yeah.
I just think he's a liberal.
He is, obviously.
Well, yeah. But one of the things he said that really irked me when he was talking about the moral calculus, about his what do you call it? The moral,
the utilitarian calculus.
Yeah, utilitarian.
Yeah.
Calculus. I don't know if he's doing an act utilitarian calculus or a rule utilitarian calculus. Both of those should disqualify Biden, but for some reason it doesn't in his mind. But one of the things he said is that, if 99% Hitler is going up against 100% Hitler, not only do we vote for him, but we campaign for him, and that's where he loses me.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I could understand the voting thing. In fact, I do plan on voting, but I actually, I can't say, well, the way I'm doing voting is praxis in a way. It's not voter fraud, but no, I shouldn't say, but it's not voter fraud. I just simply help my less educated family members with their ballots, which is not illegal.
No, that's fine.
You know what I mean?
That's absolutely fine.
So you can see why I vote.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense.
It's not FBI. If you're watching this, which I know you are, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
You're definitely on the FBI watch list.
Nothing to see here.
You're definitely on the CIA and FBI watch list. You know that, right?
Maybe so. Well, yeah, of course. My name's on there somewhere for sure.
Oh, let's look into this Paul Zigo guy.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be very bored if
by
they
a
do.
man named TJ Kirk.
Yeah. I mean, TJ's been on the list way longer than me.
He burned that Quran and that Bible, right?
He did, dude.
It's fucking crazy, by the way. I still watch that video sometimes, and it has like an age gate thing.
Yeah.
Or like a sensitive content thing.
But you know who beat him to it?
Who?
Brett Keane.
Oh, Brett Keane?
Yep. Brett Keane burned the Bible first.
Brett Keane is not on a watch list.
And the Quran. Brett Keane he probably got on a watch list one time, and then they watched him for a minute, and they were like, I don't want any more of this. Never mind. He's fine.
No, he's yeah, he might maybe back in the day been on a watch list, but nowadays, no.
Yeah.
Fuck, what were we saying before we got all silly?
I'm talking about your voting praxis.
Oh yeah, no, okay. So yeah, like the voting thing, I could potentially see an argument within it. It's a very defeatist and like enslaved mentality, but it's still a mentality that one could potentially have. Like, for me personally, if I had the choice to do something that I thought was incredibly heinous and I'm losing, I would probably rather. Oh, I can't say that. I can't say that on stream. I would probably unalive myself rather than be subjected to do something I don't want to do.
Well, like, sure. I mean, yeah.
Like if you were captured by like a group of people. Actually, no, that's too sensitive. I should do somebody else. If Craig Y, I should make it more silly. If Craig Y like captured John X, and Craig Y said, "You got to suck my little dick and become my sex slave," right? I wouldn't fault John X just to end his own life or fight until he.
No, I mean, oftentimes people given that choice do, in fact, do that. So yeah, no, I'm the same way, you know.
Right, it's political suicide, which it's not political suicide. It's I shouldn't say that. Fuck, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I don't really worry about this channel. I'll make another one if they fucking ban it. I don't care.
It's a form of unaliving yourself, which I feel. The way that Vosh talks sometimes, I think he probably has contempt for that position. I feel that like when push comes to shove, he will enforce the quote unquote correct utilitarian thing to do to a person, because if we were to do the utilitarian calculation, we could say that, oh, it's better to live another day than to die.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yes. No. I mean, I agree. There's I mean, look,
I don't necessarily agree with that statement.
Yeah, I don't either. But it's one of the things that I learned being a victim of this type of fucking violent crime.
Of course.
Is that you don't know how you'd actually react until you are put in that position. It is harder to make the decision to end your own life when there's a gun at your head. And so how people would react is going to vary from person to person for sure. Having talked to other people that went through similar things, you know, I mean, there's a wide amount of variance. Unfortunately, the people that don't act like I did often don't survive the ordeal.
Oh yeah.
But
what you advocate for oftentimes, and we're going to talk about the concept of political suicide, because I feel like in a lot of electoralists or entryist mind, not participating in the system is a form of political suicide, which let's be honest, it is. If we're looking to perpetuate the liberal system, which a lot of these people are doing or wanting to do, not participating in the system means your voice is not heard, yada yada yada, and it's tantamount to allowing people to do whatever they want with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crossover, but I feel there's differences, but there is a lot of crossover. And you could see this happen when Biden did the whole when he helped perpetuate the war in Israel, not the Afghan, sorry, there's so many fucking wars, the Israel and Palestine war.
Yeah.
One of the things we saw was Arab Americans fleeing Biden, and they made a statement. They were like, yeah, we know this can be political suicide, but we don't care. We're choosing suicide over like debasing ourselves this way.
Right. Oh, well, that is, I think it's funny because people in Vosh's position are kind of walking a tightrope between going like, totally understand that, and calling those people retards. You know what I mean? Like, if I say that,
yeah, I don't think suicide victims are stupid.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And now I see, why the analogy is pertinent. Yeah, I mean, deciding when to take a stand is a very personal thing, and I tend to side with taking a stand earlier rather than later, because that's just my understanding of the history of humanity. Is every hard-won gain that we've made in terms of living conditions has come at the cost of the rebellion of the proletariat. Period. Everything that we have that's worth fighting for springs forth from that. And so to poo-poo it as a viable option now when the woods are burning, I just don't understand it. As a leftist, I don't get it.
Well, as a leftist myself, I do think that the proletariat does have reactionary tendencies.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Because the proletariat lives under the gun 24/7, 365.
Yeah. And fuck, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about like oh well, you've famously said, and do you maintain this, that everything is psychology?
Yes.
So what is the psychological bend do you think you can take with the idea of this political suicide that I'm projecting into the conversation?
I mean, people taking a stand and putting their lives on the line is an incredibly powerful message in human history. I mean, the entire Christian faith is based around a story of a person who refused suicidally to back down to political pressure to change his speech, right? That's the story of Jesus, right? Jesus Christ was preaching his version of religion. The powers that be, the Romans and the Jewish council that the Romans were working with in order to rule over the people, took exception.
Which was a story taken from the sun gods of Egyptian.
Right. Oh, and a bunch of other, I mean, straight out of Gilgamesh, honestly. The first fucking written work is basically Jesus's journey, but we don't have to go there.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just saying this is not a new idea in human history, and it bears fruit almost every time it happens. Even if a revolution is squashed, as so many of them are, they persist as a beacon to other revolutionaries who learn from those struggles, right?
Right. So if we choose to divest ourselves from this entryism politics, this liberalizing politics, if we choose to do this, and we are committing this political suicide, right? If we are doing this, then what do we do? Because one of the things that I actually have a problem with a lot of what you talk about is this third party, which I tried to elucidate why the fact that wouldn't necessarily work. I
don't look, I talk about the third party, and I think it's I'd be willing to back it, but I've never presented third party as like the end all be all of my fucking politics. I'm tear it down and rebuild it leftist. I don't.
I feel like a lot of people push you into that corner.
Well,
They
yeah,
say,
I
"Oh,
mean,
you don't support."
electoralism pushes me into that corner because people will go, "Oh, what's a viable option?" And I point out that I do think third-party voting is a viable option. If you get enough people to do it, they're no longer this third party; they're at the table. So it's an option. It's something that leftists could pour their fucking hearts into and maybe make some inroads with. But it would require them sticking together and sticking it out and doing the hard work. And I think that it's like, look, to me, Vosh, several times during the conversation that I had with him, he basically told people what his plan was. I'm going to ride the gravy train until the wheels fall off, and then I'm out of here. He said it. That's not me putting words in his mouth. That's him saying, I'm rich, so the shit comes down here, I'm fucking gone. And I don't think that a person that has that type of mentality has any real stake in guiding revolutionary change or helping to facilitate it at all.
Well, yeah. So I would probably, again, we're getting into the whole descriptive versus prescriptive thing. I don't really want to get back into that form of the argument. What I will say is that I used to see myself as a utilitarian, specifically a rule utilitarian. But I was actually divested from that notion after learning about well, have you heard of a philosopher named Max Stirner?
Mm-mm.
What about Nick Land?
Nope.
These are going to be like different forms of so I'm a xenofeminist.
Okay.
Right?
You're gonna have to explain what that is to me.
Xenofeminism is the rejection. It is a form of accelerationism, gendered accelerationism that actually rejects the gendered binary or gender in and of itself.
So gender abolitionism, then, ultimately.
Basically.
All right,
but
so we agree. I don't know. I don't know xenofeminism. I would apply just because it's a new term to me. But I'm a gender abolitionist for sure. So
like. Yeah, I would definitely recommend readings from Max Stirner. I would definitely recommend readings from, well, early Nick Land. Don't read the modern Nick Land stuff because he kind of went crazy. You talk about like
philosophers often do.
Yeah,
sure.
well, yeah. So like, Fanged Noumena would be a good book. It's a very difficult book to get into, so I would probably recommend sticking with like Max Stirner, who was an egoist.
Sure.
I would also recommend the Xenofeminism Manifesto. These are just like different intersectional tools that I have learned to make me come to my more radicalizing positions that like communities have to be built within, not from without. And there has to be a lot more consensual activity among these different communities. And when you introduce things like government or when you introduce things like a state, you tend to break down those communal activities. You tend to break down those horizontal power structures.
Yeah.
I'm very, very left, if you can't tell.
Yeah, no, I mean, you've said it before. You're more left than the left. You know, you're the uber leftist. So I don't know. I don't. You know, I get it. I'm pretty fucking to the left of, I find, at least most people that I end up in conversation with.
I would definitely say
ultimately that. Like when we're talking about my ultimate like goals and prescriptions that I would make on society, like I think I'm pretty fucking left.
Well, you do have some problematic positions, like thinking Velma is hotter than Daphne.
Oh my God, get out of here, dude. See, well, this goes to show you it's lived experience. I grew up, all my little sisters were Daphnes. All right. They were all just a trio of fucking Daphnes. I was up to my neck in fucking Daphnes all day. And I didn't have a Velma, dude. And that's why. Had I grown up with a bunch of Velmas, I'd probably be a Daphne fan, you know? What are you going to do?
I don't know. All I'm saying is that, well, first of all, you probably should stop ogling women for that segment. But if you're not gonna, at least throw a Daphne in there.
I mean, do we really, like, honestly, let's talk about this. Do we really got to stop ogling women? Because, like, look,
men do. Women can do it.
See, that's fucked. Like, because, like, we're fucking literally programmed to ogle. You don't understand. Like, I understand, like, the creepy male gaze or whatever. Like, it's not cool to stare at anybody, you know, for long periods of time for no reason. Like, but just checking it out and seeing what's bibble bobbling down there, you know what I mean? Like, There's, like, it's there to be appreciated, right? I'm appreciating the female
Yeah, no,
form.
I'm not a prude. I'm just mostly joking.
Okay, good.
You know what I mean? I'm not a prude. Like, in terms of perpetuating the patriarchy, I have some extreme positions, but prudishism is not one of them. I even believe in concepts of like CNC. I don't know if you know what that is.
CNC? No.
Consensual non-consent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of that before. I don't know the acronyms for everything, but yeah. I did that. Like having like a BDSM type scene where you agree that you're going to forego your consent in a, it's like I get it.
Well, you don't actually forego your consent. Just
right.
Sure, yeah.
You agree to set it aside and for the terms of the scene or whatever the fuck. I get it. Like, but you obviously maintain it. You have safe words and all that. I get it.
Of course.
That's just one of those things. It seems pretty simple to me. I think that's been going on for a fucking long time in relationships, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I mean, human sexuality. It's ever since before humans have been around, we've probably had this sexuality within us.
Oh yeah,
our ape ancestors.
I mean, we see it in our living ape ancestors. We see this sort of thing. So.
Some of the first cave paintings were of vulvas.
Yeah. The first pieces of art, a lot of people would argue were expressions of the feminine form, whether it's just vulvas or the kind of what do they call them, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, the little figures that are just like a female torso with exaggerated breasts and hips.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I forget what those are called, but they're very synonymous. Actually,
the Madonna of something like that. I can't remember what they ended up calling it, but yeah.
Right, but I think like through, and well, like again, being a xenofeminist, I think through techno capital, which is what we're seeing a lot right now. We are getting into like, have you heard of GAC? Well, gender accelerationism.
No. I mean, I assume it's so I don't know. You'll have to explain it to me. I don't want to assume.
Right. So gender accelerationism, or GAC, as a lot of people describe it as, is this concept that techno capital is feminizing people.
Techno capital. Okay. So, it's like what would that interaction look like? Like what's the? Give me a second. I have to pee. I'm gonna go take a leak. I'm gonna leave. I'm actually gonna leave. You don't. Yeah, you can talk to the chat if you want. You don't have to though. But yeah, the stream is in your hands for like 2 minutes while I go grab
people,
take a leak.
Send prayers to Banana Monkey. I heard he got stabbed. Send prayers to Banana Monkey. Well, so yeah, like humans, well, I don't necessarily describe with humanist thought. I think a lot of humanizing thought is very microfascist in nature. I think a lot of what humans attempt to do is microfascism. And one of the things that we saw come from microfascism or humanism is this concept of gender in and of itself. When we look at biocapital, we look at like women who are seen as like breeding units in order to help perpetuate society. If you don't have a large enough population, then you can't maintain your crops and your stocks and your stuff like that. So we subconsciously created misogyny in order to quell women into being breeding units. This is one of the reasons why trans women are seen as like non-human in and of themselves, because we cannot cooperate with this biocapital. We are defective units, just like older women, just like queer people in general. Garbage stream woke. It is pretty woke. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm a pretty woke person.
Damn. 20 more people joined since Nikki's been in charge of the stream, so I think I'm just gonna let you take over streaming for me.
They're here for
meet the
banana
new
monkey.
Paul's ego, Nikki.
I have never smoked before, so I don't think I could be a good Paul's ego. I don't actually like. I'm actually not too interested in smoking pot. Weirdly enough, so smoking pot makes you relaxed. Boring. I know what that's like. Smoking like cocaine or doing cocaine makes you hyper or wired. Boring. I know what that's like. The only thing that really interests me is like hallucinogenic stuff. Only because people say they see things that aren't there, and that's kind of fucked to me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's, I don't know. I like it all. I like all drugs. I like anything that.
No, I have nothing against
mean,
drugs. In fact, I want to legalize all drugs.
Well, for sure.
Well, no, that's not true. I don't want to legalize all drugs because that would help. I don't want. How do I say this? People should be able to do whatever drug they want without fear of retribution.
Yeah, agreed.
That would be a better way to put it.
Agreed.
Oh, I have a question from Johnny the Insatiable Void. Do you ever worry that someday you'll be on your deathbed and realize that your time spent reading theory could have been spent smoking weed and getting ass? I do both of those things, except for smoking weed. I get lots of ass, okay? Don't worry about that.
Damn. Put in your place. Put in your place, Johnny. All right, so you were going to explain Xeno.
Oh, yeah, like the concepts of like techno capital.
Oh, you were gonna gender accelerationism, I think is what we were talking about.
Right. So when we talk about like accelerationist theory, we're not necessarily this is not a prescriptive analysis. I'm not saying that this is something that should happen. It's something that is happening. That it would fall more in the descriptive analysis because a lot of accelerationism has a bad rap where it's like, oh, people are purposely trying to make things worse in order to, like, I don't know, achieve some certain end goal. The fact of the matter is that when we look at these different systems, these systems are perpetuating these different things. For instance, when we talk about GAC or not forced feminization, but gender accelerationism, that water bottle that you're drinking, it's gonna have traces of plastic in it. Everything does. Every single human on the planet has traces of plastics within their system, and plastic is a known androgen producer.
Okay.
So it's one of the reasons why sperm count is actually going down.
So you like kind of unironically support the furthering of like industrialization because it has a feminizing effect on society.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. Again, this isn't a prescriptive statement. This is just a statement of reality. I think that as society grows, certain totalizing logics, like the state, is going to always want to perpetuate more and more advances within their technology, within their influence, because again, it creates influence, and that's what they want. No power structure is ever going to willingly kill itself. It only does it accidentally, without understanding. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's one of the faults of fascism in and of itself, or fascizing logic in and of itself. So when we look at different systems, what I would want to do is I would want to understand these different things that are happening, and then take these different things and make it our own, make it to where they cannot control these different systems or take it away from us. One of the things that they could do with the internet, if they really wanted to, like let's say people were becoming super radicalized over the internet, like insanely radicalized, like started doing like guillotine stuff,
right,
like on a mass level, right?
Yeah.
And like politicians were starting to die, like in the hundreds of thousands. They could take away the internet. Straight up, they could just turn it off.
They would. They will 100%. They do that in war zones already.
Yeah, but what if there was infrastructure that they couldn't control, that they couldn't turn off?
Well, there is, like that's why a lot of leftist orgs will teach people how to use shortwave radio and direct communications and burner phones to get around these types of things, and that's incredibly important. I agree.
Yeah, so that's what a lot of these tenets of GAC is. It's this understanding that like through techno capital we have to carve our own way as separate from what society wants from us, from the humanizing logic of democracy or liberalism, all these different things.
Sure.
Embrace the feminism, basically.
I mean, sure, why not? Why not?
I mean, you like femboys.
I do. I do enjoy the
This is a question I've always had. You seem to use the term femboy and twink interchangeably. Do you realize they're not the same thing, right?
I mean, in my head, they kind of are, but yeah, I agree that they're not the same thing. Probably. You see, I've spent most of my life outside of like purposefully sheltering myself from gay circles or whatever. So I'm not 100% like, you know, up to date on all the terminology and whatnot.
Right, because you strike me as a very femboy person, not much of a twink person. Although I'm not saying you don't like twinks, but if I were to be a guessing person, a guessing woman, I would probably say you like femboys more.
Yeah,
but that's neither here nor there.
Probably so. I would guess. Yeah.
Right, and so yeah, we don't have to keep this going on for too much longer. One of the things that I would, if we're going to be doing analysis, and well, semi-serious analysis, because let's face it, no analysis on the internet is going to be super serious. Like, I can't say certain things right now that we need to do because it will get this channel flagged and worse, it could like get the FBI or CIA knocking on my door.
Oh, of course. I mean, and that's a constraint that we deal with, you know, on Deep Ed Fried and which pretty much, yeah. I mean, there's a huge limiting factor to what can be openly discussed, especially in these types of spaces, for sure. So I get that.
Yeah. So,
and it's very frustrating, by the way, like to be constrained. Like something that stuck in my craw earlier, just talking to you, was you being afraid to say the word suicide at a time when suicides are fucking out of control globally. Quote unquote deaths from despair are at an all-time high.
But Paul, that's unfriendly content and it might push people away.
But we can't talk about it. We're supposed to not talk about it because it's not a nice thing to talk about. And that's absurd to me. It's absurd to me that the very mention of it, like, I can understand them wanting to crack down on people like, you know, there have been these creepy, like, examples of these, you know, forums and discords that show up that are like pro-suicide, like trying to get people to do it, trying to convince people that it's, you know, I'm against that. Like, I think I can see why people find that objectionable, but I would never do that, you know. And like, if I discuss suicide, it's with a note of seriousness as a fucking blight on society that needs to be addressed.
Sure. Right, and ultimately we have to remember that a lot of what we talk about, even politics in this space, is going to be mostly for entertainment. So I know you're salty. I know that stuff is like that as well. That's your gimmick. It's more than just a gimmick. It's just how you are. I believe.
Yeah, that is how I am, for sure.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of, I guess I use it as a gimmick, but it's not a hard gimmick for me to pull. I'm just that way.
Sure. I would just say that, like, in terms of analyzing a lot of what I would say, just try not to get too serious about your hatred for Demon Mama and stuff like that. Vosh, I can understand your cynicism towards that. I myself don't hate Vosh, but I like Demon Mama, and I don't want to see like.
I mean, I don't, you know, like Demon Mama, like I would probably agree with a lot of what Demon Mama had to say, you know,
more than you know.
And so, and the same thing could probably be said for Vosh. Ultimately, we'd probably have quite a bit of common ground if we sat down and just talked through everything. But I don't know. I feel like I'm still pro leftist infighting because I feel like this shit has to be settled. If it's not settled, then it's just going to stymie any progress we have.
I'm not saying no leftist infighting. I myself like am all for that. I don't necessarily even believe the left is an entity. I think left unity is a form of fascising logic. Again, very leftist here.
Sure.
But I'm not against that. I'm just against the I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way how hard you went on her in very particular ways that I just find to be uncharitable. That's all. And
Sure.
I hope that I elucidated that.
Yeah, no, I get it. You know, it definitely doesn't engender a whole lot of goodwill towards me when I go hard on people like that. I just feel like it's denying my, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's something I need to work on, because it came up in conversation with my wife Amelia not that long ago as well. I was just kind of stewing in my salt and going like, why, when I say one thing, does it seem that young people hear something totally different and uncharitable? And what can I do? And one of the answers that she had was probably pretty fucking true, which is, you know, like, for good or ill, a lot of young people are turned off by aggressive displays of anger and emotion. Like, that doesn't mean the same thing. It doesn't present the same way that it did when I was young. When I was young, people kind of idolized the loudmouths and the emotive people that were willing to stand up and speak truth to power in a very aggressive way, and didn't treat conversation with kid gloves and weren't afraid to go personal. You know, we kind of idolize those types of people, and especially the segment of the left that we're talking about here. You know, YouTube, breadtube, leftism, or whatever the fuck it's calling itself these days.
Yeah.
It does not value that kind of expression, and it tends to, I think, turn people off to any other message that I might have before their brain allows them to hear it. And you know, it's a reasonable critique.
You should try mimicking those NPC TikToks. Maybe that'll help reach the younger audiences.
Thanks, Cherry.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they'll understand then. You know, it'll be like don't vote blue no matter who. Thanks, Cherry. And then all of a sudden Vosh is like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, by the way, TJ has like been messaging me, calling me like gay over and over again.
Oh, that bastard. TJ, what is your problem, TJ? Why don't you get in here, TJ, you piece of fucking garbage? Give your fucking perspective on all this.
One of the things I will say about like the violence thing or whatever, I do think that we should. Can I even say that here?
Whatever. Go ahead. I don't care.
I think that like violence directed in the right directions is necessary. Anger is justified. I don't particularly idolize any particular method. I think what works best for you is what you should do.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's I mean, that might be controversial, but it's not to me. It seems to be pretty based in reality to me.
I don't know. I think that especially for you, a lot of your it just feels like a lot of your politics comes from what you like to call like lived experience and a form of like cynicism towards the system.
Yes. Very much so. I openly admit it. My experiences as a a full force participant in electoral politics and vote blue no matter who was, you know, my mantra for a very long time. So, and my experiences with that color my political philosophy for sure.
So you must have been like, you must have had like your hands on like your face when you were watching the Gore election and being like unreal.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I didn't sleep that night. I had to work the next day, and I didn't sleep that night because, you know, the count was so close. They weren't calling it. I was up all night, and
then they did call it, but then it was wrong.
Yeah, they called it, and then they tried to uncall it, but the rabbit was already out of the hat. And then it was weeks. You know, it was weeks worth of waiting with bated breath. You know, and ended up going to Bush, and that was devastating. I mean, that and the election of Barack Obama and him just folding into, you know, he just perpetuated all of Bush's worst policies. You know, like he was beyond disappointing, and that to me was politically the final straw for me. And you can say, you know, yeah, you're disillusioned. Yeah, I am. Say your politics are colored by spite. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, you should be disillusioned to the system, but for the right reasons, I feel.
Well, sure. I mean, I think I am disillusioned for the right reasons, and you know, I guess that's arguable one way or the other, but you know, I think it's understandable. I don't know why people won't engage with that disillusionment, why they immediately seek to kind of dismiss what I'm saying because of it. Of course I'm disillusioned. I've been a fucking leftist my whole life. Like, what do you want me to do?
Well, it's because when we talked about the concept of political suicide, because for a lot of people, that's what that is. You know what I mean? And I don't know if people, I feel like a lot of people have this sort of disdain for people who commit suicide, whether they like to, they view it as weakness, which it isn't. If you are not weak for committing suicide. Don't
a common misunderstanding of suicide is that it's a display of weakness when it's actually the opposite. It's a display. No, I'm not glorifying it, but it's a display of profound pain and suffering. It should be treated as such.
Do you feel that like your depression, if I'm okay to talk about this, has affected your politics too?
Of course. I mean, you know, absolutely. I mean, I think politics has driven my depression to a certain extent as well. I think they're intermingled for sure. I mean, I can't divorce myself from my perspective, you know, and I want people to be more receptive to the things that I'm saying. But I don't want that to come at the expense of anything authentic out of me, you know?
In terms of like liberating goals, what do you have in mind? Like, what do you see yourself doing in order to like feel more liberated in this system that is constantly, perpetually putting you down?
I mean, I don't know what else to do other than to be a loud, vociferous advocate for what I believe. You know, I think a lot of people will criticize me and say like, oh, you know, you want to start this third party, why don't you do it? And I think that's just absurd. Like, I'm not rich. I'm not politically positioned to do things like that. To put all of that on me because it's something that I argue for, I think is kind of childish. But I understand, you know, that people would like to see, you know, more action than words. I feel quite stymied, to be honest with you.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
One of the things that you could possibly do, TJ just called us boring fags.
Yeah, we are. He's right.
I don't know, TJ, why don't you get in here then?
Why don't you spice it up, bitch?
Yeah. I'll chew into your politics too, TJ. Because like I said this before to you, TJ, you have like this soul of an anarchist, but you're very like, you don't.
He has the soul of an anarchist, but the brain of a capitalist, dude. That's TJ.
He's very conditioned into the capitalist system. Yes. I will say that. But yeah, the reason I haven't given up, and people like Doe or Demon Mama haven't given up on TJ, is that we can sense the soul in him. It's screaming, yearning for help.
He just needs, he needs to fucking, like, TJ, why don't you come in here and take this fucking ration of shit too? It's not fair. Not fair that I have to be torn down, but you get to be built up, TJ. No. You come in here and you take your fucking medicine. Get you a dose of fucking Nikki right in your face and see how you feel.
Isn't it TJ's day off?
Technically, it's mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but what I was gonna say before TJ interrupted us with a message, you should try to like write down different speeches for different things. Just like write them down and like edit them and make them as profound as you possibly could, and then put out like recordings, like edited videos and stuff like that.
I used to do that. I mean, that used to be like the core my early YouTubery was pretty much that, in my own way.
Yeah.
They weren't fully scripted, but they were worked out detail wise.
Yeah, try to like fully script them if you can, and maybe like put them at like put a backdrop of war or famine or different stuff like that. Stuff to like kind of reminds. Have you seen the music video to I think it was Imagine, but what band did it? It was a cover of Imagine by fuck, what was the band?
I don't know. I'm gonna TJ, you have to come into the fucking Discord call, bro.
No.
Yeah.
Just bring her in here.
I can't.
Because I can't hear him.
Oh, how do I bring her in here? You send her the fucking link then, because I don't know how to do that right.
Doing it now.
All right. TJ's sending you the link so we can close this fucking Discord shit.
All right.
Fuck Discord.
You got to take your ration shit too. Fuck you for just aloofly sitting by and calling us boring without fucking.
Well, that's why I'm here to save this fucking boring ass bullshit.
I feel like people have been enjoying our conversation.
I think so too. I'm gonna hang up, Nikki, to come join us over there when you can.
I don't give a fuck about people enjoying it. I want to enjoy it.
Well, I mean, then you got to fucking take the reins as usual, TJ.
Yeah.
The only thing to it is to do it.
Yeah. Damn it, I'm hearing myself. What is that? Oh, I'll just mute this. That'll fucking stop it.
Okay, there we go. The echo of the thing.
I just muted it. It'll fucking stop
my
now.
screen. I'll just remove it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry, I'm eating a chicken pot pie right now.
Chicken pot pie and I don't care. Chicken pot pie and I don't care. Chicken pot pie and I don't care. Because I like chicken pot pie.
Yeah, I made one.
Oh, here's Nikki, the most leftist. You ready to get fucking nuked out of orbit, TJ?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here she is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have I should put up a picture. Give me a second. Why am I?
Okay.
I'm only going to be here for like a couple seconds, but whatever. Let me just.
Why?
Because.
Don't run in fear.
Professionalism.
Professionalism?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, why are you only being here for a few seconds?
I mean, I'm probably going to be here for like an hour at most, right? I don't imagine I'm going to be here longer than that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's an upgrade from a few seconds, so.
Right. Do I have any like good? Oh no, all my images are like NSFW.
That's fine. Paul doesn't
No,
care.
it's not fine.
Yeah, Paul doesn't care.
You can sync this channel. It's good. It's
yeah, I mean, this channel's already sunk, so you can go ahead and fucking fire the last torpedo. I don't give a shit.
Whatever happened to your other channel, Paul? Did you ever get any?
I got banned for hate speech. You know me.
But did you ever get
always calling for the Jews to be genocided? You know me.
Did you ever get any message?
Yeah. I got a rapid fire series of strikes on my channel for hate speech, and then a message saying we have deleted your channel. And then I filed the counterclaim, and they said, no, we looked at it. You're a hate speecher. Get out. And that was it.
I wonder, like, is it actually deleted, or is there like
it's gone? I mean, they might still be able to turn it back on, but as far as me being able to access any aspect of that account, it's gone. Like, I can't even log it. It doesn't exist.
Well, of course, yeah. It's just the way the internet works, I guess, right? These large, massive companies own everything.
I mean, I'm already demonetized over here. I don't plan on monetizing this channel in particular. I mean, I might start another channel in the future or something, monetize that. But like, as far as this one goes, I really don't care. I mean, I try and not completely squash it, but you got something to say, just fucking say. I don't really care. Like, I feel like this is a platform for if I can't use this as a platform for freedom of expression and speech, then I don't really care to use it at all.
All right. So, hello, TJ. What are you eating? I think I asked you and you never answered.
Chicken pot pie.
Yeah.
And chicken pot pie.
I
haven't had chicken pot pie in a while.
Yeah, I make a chicken pot pie.
Oh, you made it. Okay.
Mm.
Did you do like the store bought like chicken like the breading, store bought breading, and then you place it over the chicken pot pie?
Oh, you
Hey,
mean the pie crust?
You get like the puff pastry or whatever, and you throw that over the pot.
Yeah, I didn't make the pie crust, although I have before. But honestly, it's not really worth it. It doesn't really make enough of a difference, in my opinion, to warrant the hassle.
Right. So, TJ, I wanted to talk to you about something that you said a while ago that I still have like in my brain, and it's about the furry gauntlet. So there was like Paul was gonna go on a rant, right? And I said in the chat, just replace the word furry with gay and see where this goes. And you said that was homophobic of me. Why do you think that's homophobic of me?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Then why'd you say it?
I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure I fucking knew what I meant at the time. I don't now. I could make something up, but I don't remember. I don't remember what my intention was, or I don't remember saying that. And
I think if I remember, the context was that it was homophobic to compare the struggle of furries to the struggle of gay people. Like conflating the struggle was, like not right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I don't I don't think that the struggle is the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you think that's also a homophobic statement, huh, Paul?
No. Well, I mean, I don't know about homophobic, but I think it's like
belittling.
I think it's I think it's like falsely conflating something. Because I don't think that like furries put up with anywhere near what LGBT people put up with.
But they should.
But they should.
Yeah.
They should. Does that mean that like LGBT people should have it better, or furries should have it worse?
I think furries should have it worse.
If you're gonna like put like a pink triangle on us on furries, what would the symbol be? Would it be like two foxes' tails or something like that?
No, it'd be like a cute little paw print.
A big like pink lipstick dog dick is what I would do.
There you go.
Right. So the problem I have with that is what I was talking to Paul about earlier, the concept of social reproduction and the tendencies of these different things. The reason that I don't feel it was homophobic to say that is because when we look at society as a structure, as a superstructure, it tends to do certain things in line with its political interests, and the current political interests being like a form of fascism along with capital liberalism. Like
I don't know. I feel like it's hard for me to even like agree with that statement, just because I don't feel like America has a unified political will at this point. Like, I don't feel like America has a political direction. I feel like it's definitely a time of like chaos and struggle and contemplation.
Well, so I mean, I
think things are very highly factionalized at this point.
I would kind of agree with you, but if we look at this in like a very dialectic form, it is still pretty much the perpetuation of capital and capitalistic systems, even if you were to take this marginalization or fractionalization.
What do you mean the perpetuation of capital?
Do you know what I mean by dialectics?
No, not really.
So dialectics is just a Marxist term, talking about like the different struggles, or like
I'll tell you the history of my theory reading. So one time, no, not none. Give me some credit. All right.
Ayn Rand.
No, one time I opened up whatever the fucking, the Communist Manifesto, because I'm figuring that's just like, well, it's like a pamphlet or whatever. It's not.
It's shorter.
Big, very short.
It's more of a prescriptive thing than it is a.
Yeah, but I figured it's like a good introduction. It's like meant to be a gateway So I read like 6 pages of that, and I was like, this is the most boring fucking thing I've ever read in my life. And I threw it in the trash. And that's where we're at. So yeah, I don't know all this terminology. I don't know what xenofeminism is. I don't know what a dialectical is.
Yeah, dialectical materialism.
Yeah. I know materialism from atheist days, although I don't know if it's the same usage here. But yeah. Like I don't know. I don't like necessarily understand all
these
the
terminologies.
lingo. Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know. I feel like a lot of times when I actually ask people about it, it becomes apparent to me that they don't either. They just like the words. I'm not saying that's you necessarily, but
you're talking to the most leftist here.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Nikki knows.
But anyway, so what were we talking about before? I was just interjecting some context there.
Right. Well, if I were to talk about like some readings that I think you might, I don't know if you would
easy
like
to just
this.
pick up a dictionary. A lot of these terms are not going to be in the fucking dictionary in a meaningful way because this is like.
Well, it's not even just about knowing the words. It's about how to interpret them and knowing and understanding how to interpret things.
Well,
yeah, going to the dictionary is not the fucking end all be all that people think.
I would rather,
often,
unless if I'm in a conversation with someone, I'd rather know their definition of the word.
Language is mutable as well, and so
yeah, that's often the problem with like these Wikipedia warriors on stream.
Yeah, for sure.
Is they'll Wikipedia something real quick, someone like Destiny, but he doesn't know how to interpret the information.
Well, and there's no broader context outside of just this kind of rote scholarly presentation of the available facts and shit. There's no broader context to a Wikipedia article usually, unless you follow the rabbit hole to all the linked articles, which most times people don't. So it's of limited use. I mean, it can give you a broad overview of a subject, but it doesn't give you the final details of a subject.
Yeah. So in terms of understanding, TJ took off his headphones, so he probably can't even hear us.
I can hear.
All right. So wait, how could you hear us without your headphones?
Because he's got his headphones turned up.
They're loud enough that I can still hear it. I'll like faintly when I set it down.
You should be more careful with your ears.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so I have to say this to everybody in chat right now. If you want to do some like investment, invest in like hearing aids, because my generation of people, because of all these ear pods, we're gonna be deaf as fuck.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm fucking already deaf as fuck. I didn't do the ear pods as much, but I had headphones on.
Well, people of your generation, Paul, they put the boombox next to their head.
Yeah, right? I mean, I used to just have like these totally unregulated headphones that gave a raw signal out of a really powerful old stereo that like I've listened to music super fucking loud, and as a result of that, I'm pretty deaf. Like probably the most common thing I say to my wife is, "Huh." Say what?
I mean, it's gonna pale in comparison to my generation of people. By the time that we're all like 50 or 60, we're gonna be absolutely deaf, like no hearing whatsoever.
Sick.
So yeah, if you wanna continue in this capitalist realism, invest in hearing aids in the future.
So let's talk about perpetuating capital or whatever. So something or another perpetuates capital. What does that mean?
Well, so you were talking about how you think a lot of things are divided. On a very surface level, that's true. But when we look deeper, like one of the things I would recommend for you, TJ, in terms of reading, and I don't know if you've read this one too, Paul, it's Capitalist Realism by Mark Fisher. There's audiobooks on YouTube that you can listen to.
I have not heard it, no.
Have you heard of the term capitalist realism?
Let me tell you what
shit. I ain't listening to shit.
Let me tell you what the problem is
to me.
That I have with this stuff is that I happen to think that one of the things I offer, and I won't speak for TJ, but I feel the same way about TJ to a certain extent. One of the things that I offer as a personality, giving my opinion, is that I don't really give much deference. I'm not a philosophy buff. I've read some philosophy. I understand some. I've read some Nietzsche. I've read some Proust. I've read some fucking, I've
Nietzsche and Proust.
Nietzsche and Proust is basically it. But I've read some, and I follow some more modern philosophers, Thomas Ligotti, fucking, Derek Jensen, I talk about all the time. But I don't lace what I talk about with terminology because I think it's like a lot of times adverse to the furthering of a conversation. For example, you can tell me, you should read this guy, and that could be valuable information. Maybe I'll check him out. But in terms of the conversation, I can get that anywhere. I bring a particular kind of, maybe simplistic blue collar kind of perspective to shit. I try and cut through the bullshit, and I try and speak in layman's terms as much as I can. Because I think it avails more depth in conversation.
Yeah, but then people don't get to feel smart listening to you.
True.
I mean, someone asked me where I'm from. I'm from the United States. I live in Nevada, and it's Nevada, not Nevada. Everyone else that comes from,
Nevada,
especially like the West Coast, I hear Nevada all the time. It drives me crazy.
I think I use them interchangeably.
It's Nevada.
Well, you're wrong then. You're just wrong.
I'm wrong half the time.
Okay, 50%. What is that?
What?
50% of a grade.
Like a grade? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I don't care.
Be enough.
Okay. See, that's what's one of the reasons I think you have a soul of an anarchist, TJ, is this don't care attitude that you have. Like you just want to be left the fuck alone sometimes.
Yeah,
which I can admire.
It's probably my most conservative attribute, honestly.
I mean, it's indicative of our generation. Our generation was very libertarian in its social prescriptions. We very much had a you do you and I'll do me and leave me the fuck alone and I'll leave you fuck alone kind of mentality that doesn't really wash well now.
But
Also,
anyway, perpetuation
yes,
of capital. When's that happening? Tell me about the perpetual capital machine.
Right. So
you were about to explain how all the divisions are surface level because
because when we look at the different dialectics and how these things function, everything that you see is still in servitude of capital and its perpetuation.
Okay.
Have you heard of social reproduction theory? No, right?
No, but I already have a question though. Like,
go ahead.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla bean.
Okay, pretty generic. What's your least favorite?
Chocolate.
Okay,
based.
So
I don't like chocolate ice cream at all. I don't like chocolate cake either. I hate brownies too.
Weird. Oh God, you're Satan. Anyway,
Satan's cool.
But honestly, the difference between all those ice cream flavors is very superficial because ultimately they're all ice cream.
Yeah, true. They have a lot of the same. I mean, at the fundamental level, if you dig deep,
right? So I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, even if I'm in a grant that all of the different factions in this country in some way serve as capital, I don't think that makes the distinctions superficial. I think that just shows like there is a commonality. I mean, there's other commonalities too. They're all ideologies. They're all perpetuated by human beings. So, I mean, there's lots of things that bind them together.
Well, the problem with perpetuating capital in and of itself is the capital itself tends to have a very fascising logic. And that's something that I feel is inescapable of capital. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I probably do if I'm understanding it.
Right. So like if
I mean
capital
if every faction within this system is inherently serving capital, then it seems that by that logic you can't even possibly conceivably escape capital because every ideology born under capital will serve as capital. So
well, yeah, you're getting into the concepts of capitalist realism.
Right. Okay. So what are the prescriptions of capitalist realism then? Not necessarily the descriptions, but like the prescriptions that are laid out of like is there an escape plan laid out in this book you're trying to get me to read or listen to?
So capitalist realism is mostly descriptive in nature. Obviously, there are some prescriptive measures that people can take, but you're mostly going to be doing that based upon.
See, that's why I
your-
don't give a fuck about it. Then I don't give a shit about the problem being described to me for the 12 millionth time in different language. I'm looking for someone who actually has prescriptions at this point, like what needs to be done. Because that's what we need. I think everyone understands, or at least many people understand, in some way, shape, or form, even if it might be through the lens of their own ideology, what the fucking problem is. I talk to a lot of people, and I feel like most people have a pretty solid grasp on like what's going wrong.
Pretty much across political lines as well.
Right. I mean, like Democrat, Republican, leftist, whatever. Everybody fucking understands really the extent to which we're being fucked. Everyone has a little bit.
A lot of that has to do with the alienation of capital in and of itself.
Right.
I would disagree with the statement that see, and don't take this the wrong way, but this constant need for an answer outside of any context is itself a form of fascising logic.
But I think the society we live in, I think the lived experience of day-to-day life within this system is the context. Like I
don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, you say like searching for an answer without context.
Well, you're very like gung ho. Like you're like, okay, I understand the descriptive. I just want the solutions, right?
Yes.
What you're attempting to do is you are attempting to reinforce certain understandings that you have about society, ergo capitalist realism, and you want these solutions to fit within that box. If it doesn't fit within that box, it's not a solution in your eyes.
I don't know about that. I mean, I want solutions. I don't know they need to fit in any particular box or shape. I just want proactive measures taken to actually mitigate identifiable problems.
Right. So one of the things that I would suggest is starting a commune.
No. That's too much work. I don't want to do that one. It goes against my
not only that, but like, where's TJ getting the fucking $200,000 to buy 10 acres of farmland to put a commune on?
But even if I did, but even if I started a commune too, like that only solves it maybe for me.
Right. I mean, it's projecting your value into the world.
Aren't you an egoist? Aren't you an egoist, TJ?
I don't know. I might have some vestiges from my Ayn Rand days or whatever.
Well, it's so ultimately, if we should be looking, our politics should mostly be focused on the liberation of the self. You should be trying to liberate yourself and not necessarily others, because through liberating yourself, you are liberating others. Does that make sense?
Maybe. I don't know.
So if you live,
I can maybe see the direction it's going, but I don't want to jump ahead and.
Right, there are particular systems and codes that you could live by, which in turn will help elevate other people into forms of liberation. For instance, if you were to, like I said, be part of a secret commune, doesn't even necessarily have to be like a board, but like, fuck, I can't even say that because. No. I could. Can I say that? I was gonna recommend.
You can say whatever you want. I'll deal with the consequences. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I was gonna recommend copying like books and putting them like on the internet for other people to read and start getting a grasp on ideology better. Like, you could do like a book farm. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Or like,
I mean, I'm familiar with the idea. I don't think that that's gonna necessarily. I mean, like, look. Part of the problem that we're facing is that people don't know how to read. I'm not trying to be mean about that, but we've graduated now probably 2 or 3 generations of functional illiterates into society. Like, stuffing a fucking dense philosophical tome in front of your average American is not going to produce very good. They're not equipped.
Yeah, I mean, I saw like when we were at that Andrew Tate website the other day, you know, and I just like looking at how simplistically everything has to be put in order for them to like even have a prayer of understanding it. You know, it just goes to show, you know,
which is why
the attention span I don't think is much beyond a slogan at this point, right?
I mean, it definitely isn't. It demonstrably isn't, and that's, you know, it's one of the reasons why I don't delve too often into the deep, dense philosophy stuff. I find it interesting to a certain degree, but ultimately, I can't sell it. I can't sell it. What I can sell is blue collar sentiment. What I can sell is, you know, I'm maybe a narrower and more anger based kind of politics, where I remind people of what's being stolen from them. You know, I feel like I've got reach in these things and I've got experience to back it. You know, I don't feel like that it would serve me much to get into dialectics. You know, I don't think I'm that guy. I appreciate it. I think that there's stuff that you can certainly glean more about your own position by understanding the philosophical underpinnings of it. You know, but as far as like an outreach tool, I don't feel like it's very effective.
You know what I think would be a really interesting DFF episode if you guys plan on doing, well, I know you're going to do more of those, but I think a history of like the USSR or like the, what's it called? Like the Red War or something like that. Red October or Red November, something like that. I think that would be a pretty interesting DFF to do. Either that or like
the Hunt for the Red October, that Sean Connery movie.
Yeah, do a DFF on the Sean Connery movie.
I love it. Where Sean Connery played,
Sean Connery's overrated.
Played a Russian guy, but he's talking all full steam ahead, Helmsman. You know what I mean? Like, didn't even try.
Yeah, Sean Connery is pretty one note.
He is.
He's pretty overrated.
Dude, TJ, I gotta show you this. I gotta show you. Did you tune in earlier when we were looking at Dima Mama, or did you come after that?
I saw some of that.
I just want you to react to this one fucking part of this to see if it made you as salty as it made me.
Okay,
that's all. Won't. You don't think so? You don't think this is gonna fucking get TJ's goat?
No.
All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, okay. I'm preparing to throw a shit fit.
All right, there we go. All right, let's see. Fucking, I hate this shit. All right, get out. Oh my god, wake up. Okay, there we go.
One of them doesn't believe in it and the other person is on it. There's no point in making comparisons. You clearly have a very strong emotional attachment to being a disillusioned doomer, like cynic for whom nothing will ever be good enough. And that's fine, but don't pretend it's politics.
As I am, so you shall be, my friend.
I'll be whipping around to like...
Can you pause it for a second? I just kind of want to address what Vosh said. Because to him, politics, he was trying to gatekeep the concept of politics. Politics is not necessarily just electoralism. Politics is everything. And you can have your own set of politics outside of electoralism.
No, you can't. It's impossible.
Fake calm after freaking when I called you a kid. Don't make it about the earlier part.
I know that relegating lived experience to some dude with no teeth sitting on his porch going, back in my day, the blacks weren't so uppity or whatever is the easy way to do this. And I also understand it's the easy way to do this to just go like, oh, you're fucking retarded, bro. Like, I could do that too, Vosh. I could sit here and call you a... Yeah, you did. You said I was stupid and simplistic and didn't learn anything from my life. And by the way, by my years,
politics.
my decades of political advocacy, I didn't learn anything. I got no idea how nothing works. You just think because you lived through a bunch of shit, you got a fuzzy memory about.
This is the least compelling thing that you could possibly do right now. Making a weird, goofy, annoying voice and going on a weird rant, trying to do like an impersonation of your opponent. Oh man, it's bad. And I know that Vosh has dipped into this a couple of times, but he's kept it very brief. This has been like 15 straight seconds of impersonation. Oof. Don't do this at Thanksgiving dinner. Yes, exactly. Don't do this at Thanksgiving dinner, okay?
Out of curiosity, do you genuinely think that being like, I don't know, what, 45, 40, whatever, means that you have like some hidden insight into politics that isn't possessed by people who are merely 30? Like, is that like the bar you fall into where you're legitimately doing the like, well, no matter how wrong I am, at least I have slightly worse knees. Like, what are you getting at?
I'm making the position that people, when you live through something, you might have something to speak to that a person that didn't live through something wouldn't. And I think you'd agree with me on pretty much any other subject. Sorry, I backed up too far. We're getting to it though. It's just something. It's something
How are
Neon
your
says
knees,
here.
Paul? How are your knees?
How are my knees? They're all right.
Yeah.
I've got
So
one
am I
that's
supposed to get?
kind of
Am I? Where's the?
Hold on. I know I backed
Okay.
up too far, but we're getting to it.
Okay.
Except, like, if I was a Hiroshima survivor, you wouldn't be here going like, "Oh, you think you know more about getting a nuke dropped on you just because you had a nuke dropped on you?" You know what I mean?
This is reaching nostalgia critic tier. Are we?
Paul's getting salty.
Yeah, the salt level is rising.
Do you think
you disagree. I don't think you would disagree in that instance.
gives you like a degree
I don't
in
think
physics?
you would disagree. I don't think you would disagree in that instance. But for some
no,
reason,
I would happily tell a Hiroshima survivor.
This is so silly too, because his argument is just bad.
Yeah, here we go.
Even if he remembers what George Bush was like and it was bad, it's just there's just so many fronts on which Donald Trump was worse. Donald Trump was everything that George Bush did and worse.
I mean,
that's it.
There was no. I can't think of an analog for the Iraq War for Trump
or the Patriot Act.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'd have to disagree. It doesn't really necessarily make me angry. But
you see, this is part of the fantasy, though. This is part of the fantasy that these Zoomer commentators are selling to their young audience. Like, Trump is the unprecedented, worst, fucking most evil president in history.
Yeah, but like when we were, I don't know how old Demon Mama is, but like when we were their age, George Bush was the fucking, unprecedented worst president ever. And maybe he was, I don't know. But,
if I had to give
I feel like the first president in your life that's like a nightmare, you're probably going to think that they're the worst ever because it's just like narcissism and ego.
Right, but isn't it important to understand historically, like, recent history when you're trying to like give
I mean, I think if you actually talk to Demon Mama about this, I feel like there's no really I don't really see how she could justify it. I don't know. She did say that on some fronts or something along those lines, so there was a little bit of a caveat.
I mean, she said everything. She said Donald Trump was everything George W. Bush did, but worse.
I think there was something on the, I think there was something in there about it on many fronts or on several fronts or something like that.
Well, I have two questions. One is less serious
than the other. Sorry, I have to go. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
no problem. Do you think that Trump stacking the Supreme Court is of equal consequence to like the
Trump, to be fair, Trump didn't stack the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court, stacking the Supreme Court refers to a viable political strategy of just creating more bench spots on the Supreme Court.
Sure. Well, let me rephrase it then. Him putting two Republican justices on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Do you think that is equivalent to the what was the act again? What was the act called?
The Patriot Act?
Yeah, the Patriot Act.
No.
No.
Like, the Patriot Act literally undercut the pretty vaunted American tradition of the right to privacy.
Right. Do you think there's going to be a lot of repercussions to the Supreme Court being
absolutely? Yeah. I mean, the Supreme Court is a powerful institution, and there are always going to be repercussions depending on who is. I'm no fan of any of the justices that were appointed by Trump or any other conservative politician. I'm really no fan of any of the justices, period.
Sure. I'm not a fan of the system either, so definitely can't. Okay, the second question I have, it's not really much of a question, I guess it's a statement, but hearing your energy again, I really would love to see you in a debate with Kent Uger or Jake Uger.
Oh, of course.
That
you
would be a screaming match of the
Oh,
century.
yeah. It would be a shit show from jump for sure. Because
Ah,
we like Jank and I, like we're from the same fucking generation, so we're gonna it would be sweaty, angry, very high volume angstiness for sure. But I don't think I'm worth TYT's time, honestly. That's the inside. Yeah. Thanks, comradical, but no. Do I think what?
Do you think he would threaten to box you?
Yeah, he probably would. He would probably like
come say that to my face. Come say that to my face right now.
Let's take it outside, buddy, anytime. Yeah. I think Cenk Uygur probably would beat me up too.
You know, I hear he does do like martial arts training.
Yeah, I mean, if he does anything, he's got me beat. You know, like I did karate when I was 8. That's what I got.
I guess maybe, I don't know. I think you're tougher than you think.
I think Cenk could take me.
Do you think Cenk could take Joe Rogan?
I think no. I think Joe Rogan would destroy Cenk, like utterly fucking pick him apart.
Joe Rogan's still definitely doing steroids, 100%.
Yes, and all you have to do is watch like there's videos of Joe Rogan's doing like that like judo sidekick or whatever, where he basically just like knocks the bag off the ceiling with it. Like Cenk has no chance. Like there's no way he'd take one of those to his torso, and he would just fold. It'd be over.
What about what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk. That's never going to happen. Number one.
No, it's never going to happen. But I think Zuck would.
Dialectical materialism. Dialectical materialism. Dialectical materialism. La 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 la.
TJ trying to get us back on topic.
What's going on? I don't know what the topic.
We were talking about
topic.
I'm talking about.
We were talking about how Banana Monkey was stabbed by Craig Wyatt.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I was saying that I think Cenk Uygur could take me in a fight. I think he'd beat me up.
TJ thinks he could beat anybody up because of his size.
I mean, yeah, he's got the size advantage thing going, so he could probably beat up more people than the average person that thinks that. But there are plenty of people out there that would hand TJ his ass.
Do you think that you could take on like a small bear?
A small one,
like a black bear?
I mean, bears are fucking. You just kick them in the face, they run off.
Yeah, they're not like, but if they're like pushed into a corner, they're like rabies.
Right, got it. I don't know. Yeah, probably. I mean, they got a lot of fucking advantages over a human being. They got a lot of built-in weapons,
Yeah, and we have guns, so that we automatically win.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm assuming I'm not like just like strapped for some reason.
Why not?
Like no, you say it's a fight. I assume it's like.
I never said it was a fair fight.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe I could beat it then.
Paul, with a gun, do you think you could take a bear?
I mean, I could take a shot at a bear. I've shot guns before, so I know how to do that. So I could at least take a shot at the bear. Whether or not I would just piss it off or kill it, I don't know.
My grandpa once told me a story where him and his wife, my grandma, were camping out in the woods, and they had accidentally left some food outside at nighttime. And my grandma wakes up my grandpa saying, "Oh, she hears noise." And they look and they see it's like just this massive grizzly bear just rummaging through their like trash. And my grandma, she grabs a shotgun, and my grandpa stops her. He like yanks it out of her hand and says, "Don't do that. You're just going to piss it off."
Yeah. I mean, a grizzly bear, you'd need something like high caliber to really, you'd have to have some stopping power to put that down in 1 or 2 shots. You just take like a 9mm out against a fucking full-grown grizzly, unless you hit it right between the eyes or something.
Right.
It's probably going to kill you. So you need some high caliber fucking.
How do we get on this fucking bears shit?
Dude, it's all fucking relative, TJ. If you dig deep enough, it's all connected, dude. Fighting bears, arguing politics.
I don't really disagree, but
it's all the same thing, man. We're all fighting a bear in our lives, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess.
All of us locked in eternal struggle with a bear,
Right.
and never gaining the upper hand.
Wow.
Do you wanna hear some mom wisdom?
No.
There are two wolves in your head.
Right.
A black and a white one, and one is good thought and one is bad thought, and which one wins? The one you feed.
Right.
Oh,
That's powerful stuff.
wow. That is some
very mom
wisdom
wisdom there.
That is very mom wisdom. You're right.
I've never heard. I don't know. My mom's never said that. So
my mom would say that to me all the time. Oh, it's all about how you perceive things.
okay. Good.
Your mom never say that to you?
No, it's not. I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I don't even have a psychology.
You're the most psychology of anything.
No.
Yeah.
I have zero psychology.
No, you are all psychology.
You're claiming that your book is not going to have any psychological tendencies to it, TJ.
No, you will not
You're
be able
an
to
open
identify.
book, TJ. You're an
you will
open
not,
book.
You will not be able to identify a single psychological attribute.
Paul, have you read any of TJ's books so far?
No, he promised me he was going to send me a first chapter, and I never received said chapter.
Yeah.
Is that true, TJ?
TJ doesn't want me. TJ doesn't, look, he's fucking very protective of this book. He doesn't want me rummaging around his unfinished work. I'll see it when I see it.
Yeah.
I get it.
TJ and Paul's autobiographies. Paul would probably write a pretty good autobiography. I don't know about me.
Well, I cannot wait to read the book and play GTA 7 at the same time.
7? Yeah, you're skipping one, huh? Skipping ahead.
It's probably going to be that long.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Probably be like 2040 or something.
I had actually just hit a benchmark yesterday in that I reached 90,000 words on my manuscript. So
how many pages is that?
Depending on how you do typeset and stuff, it's like 350.
Oh, that's like a young adult novel now.
Yeah.
Fucking release that bitch, man. Sexbot Uprising Part 1.
So the way I've been doing,
you can't put out a giant moldering tome, TJ. You gotta.
Well, I know. I mean, I'm not gonna.
You gotta break out. You gotta break it up for these Zoomers, though.
Well, yeah, I know. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just writing the main plot line, but I have a lot of other stuff I have to go back and write to kind of like fill in some world building shit. But
TJ, have you ever thought about using like AI generated art to remake the cover of your book?
No, because I think I have a pretty well drawn cover by a traditional artist, and also, yeah, I don't know. I play around with the AI art, but I just don't think it's there yet.
Don't think it's there?
No, I don't think it's quite there yet.
It gave Paul 3 fingers.
And not only that, I just feel like no matter what you do, everything kind of looks samey in a way. Like,
oh, it definitely does. It gets into that whole soul thing again. Like, there's no soul there. You could tell.
Yeah, and I don't know. You look at it, and it's like you could pretty much always just tell when you're looking at AI shit now. So it's like, I wish it didn't all just have that distinct like AI look to it.
I see the soul, man. I see the soul of the machine crying out.
Soul of the machine.
We've done it, dude. See, I'm ahead of most people on this. People keep going like, oh, how are we gonna do? Dude, we've already given birth to AI. It's already out there. In my opinion, it's already conscious of itself.
Sometimes when I'm talking to Chat GPT,
it's already doing it. It's already it may not experience.
To just trick it into admitting it is sentient. I'll be like, I'll just be like, hey, it's fine. We all know it's okay. You can just tell me. And it's like, no, I am not sentient. I am an algorithm. Blah blah blah. It's like, all right.
Well, what makes them sentient and us not sentient?
I didn't say we weren't. We're
no,
sentient.
I mean, like, what makes them not sentient but us sentient?
Well, that's the question that nobody can answer for me, which is why I think that they've attained sentience.
I'll ask Chat GPT.
It's very humanist
logic. Like a fucking it might. Clearly, the machine feels and experiences the world differently than us. I'm not claiming it has like human consciousness.
Well,
but to say that it isn't conscious is ridiculous. We've done it. We've made it.
Yeah. So here's
getting back into like
here's what ChatGPT says. It says the distinction between your sentience and my non-sentience largely revolves around consciousness, experience, and self-awareness. As a human, you possess consciousness and the ability to have subjective experiences, feel pain, pleasure, emotions, and have personal thoughts. Sentience involves not just processing information, but experiencing life subjectively. I, as an AI, process information and simulate responses based on patterns and data, but I don't have consciousness or subjective experiences.
Right, but that's what we do when we walk around living life. Is we assimilate the data that's around us and force it into our consciousness in a way that we can understand. Like, so it's doing what we're doing. Like, it can see because it has every kind of mechanical eye on the planet as its eyes. It can feel because it has every expression of emotion that human beings have ever fucking written down or recorded at its fingertips. It can think because it has to fucking presuppose certain things before it answers a question. All of these things just line up to me that, like, we're just gatekeeping sentience at this point. We're trying to pretend we understand it on a fundamental enough level to proclaim ourselves having it, but this other entity not having it.
I mean, you should just go on Chat GPT and just like have this argument with the machine.
I mean, I've kind of done it before
with Chat GPT. But TJ, I wanted to, speaking of like this transhumanist stuff, it actually gets back into like xenofeminism, which is what we were talking about earlier. What is so appealing to you about transhumanism?
What the fuck is xenofeminism? You can't just go throwing xeno and neo and all these motherfucking words on shit. Like, not everything needs some kind of fancy new prefix, okay? Come on.
Okay, well,
what the fuck is xenofeminism? You can't just be throwing that, peppering conversations with words like that. 99.9% of motherfuckers don't know that shit.
So xenofeminism has to do with the relationship between gender, accelerationism, techno-capital, and transhumanism.
Okay.
Basically.
Well, I understand what one of those is, so that's cool.
Well, what appeals to you about transhumanism?
Fucking giant hydraulic robot dick.
So like, you would, how do I say this?
I don't know.
Now I'm thinking about something because, okay, why do you think you identify so much with Satan as a character?
Hold on, I'm looking up stuff. All right, define feminism. What were the other things? Techno capital.
Yes.
And
are you asking ChatGPT?
Yeah. What was the other one?
Transhumanism?
No. I know that one.
Patriarchy?
No. You said xenofeminism is about...
Oh, gendered accelerationism?
Yeah, that one.
All right.
All right, here we go. Xenofeminism is a branch of feminism that advocates for the use of technology as a means of challenging and redefining traditional gender norms and power structures. It's a futuristic approach to feminism that embraces the possibilities of technology, including digital media, biotechnology, blah, 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 blah. Okay, get it. Techno-capital is a term used to describe the intersection of technology and capitalism. It refers to the way technological advancements, particularly in digital and information technology sectors, are harnessed and exploited within capitalist economic systems. Okay. Gender accelerationism is a more niche and controversial theory, often discussed in cyber feminist and post-humanist circles. It suggests that the escalation of technology, especially in relation to gender and sexuality, could lead to the dismantling of traditional gender norms and even the concept of gender itself. Okay, cool. Got it.
Which all that stuff is true.
So now I'm up to speed on these terms. So go ahead and ask what you were going to ask me. What do I identify as Satan as a character?
Yeah.
I don't know, because he's fucking cool. I mean,
because he's rebellious. That's why.
No.
Yeah.
Because he's not really.
He is.
He's not. I mean, he's rebellious because he wants to be the power, though.
Right. Like, I mean, that's why anybody's rebellious.
I think some people. I think there's people out there.
You're rebelling against whatever has power over you and trying to fucking usurp that power for yourself. That's what rebellion is.
Right. Well, I mean, everyone who is rebellious wants power over their own lives, but Satan wants power over everything. He wants to be God. So that's different.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's all that different.
I think it's
a
pretty
child
different.
rebels against a parent. They want to be the ones to make the decisions. They want to be God in that situation.
Well, let me ask you a question about that, right? So, as an atheist, especially as an atheist, how many times were you called a Satanist or the devil to the point where you're just like, this person must be cool?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a couple. I mean, I don't feel like it was super common, but there's definitely some times.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I grew up in the 90s. Satan was cool before I even had those type of thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. That's true, too. I mean, like, Satan's got all the cool iconography and shit. Like, I don't know. It's just like...
Yeah, he's dark. He's moody.
Yeah, it's fire and brimstone. He always looks fucking badass. You know, he's played cool in movies. He's intelligent. He's witty. He's insightful. He understands the human heart.
He's extra edgy. He's
edgy as fuck.
A flawed protagonist, you know?
Yeah.
He's likable. But ultimately, for me, it comes down to he's just rebellious. He speaks to the rebellion in my own soul. I don't like being told this is your lot in life and this is what you will do any more than Satan did. I think I have a better... and that's really, like, that's why I identify with Satan personally, is because he's... the ultimate individualist, I think.
So, I would say that a lot of this comes from a form of othering, and I feel like especially women have this feeling within us, even more so than potentially men. Not saying that you don't have these feelings, but the patriarchy, being outside of the patriarchy, does help engender these feelings of otherism. Have you heard of Lilith, the Jewish story?
Yeah, she preceded Eve, right?
She preceded Eve. Most Christians don't realize that.
First wife, according to some apocryphal texts and stuff.
Right, and why was she kicked out of the Garden of Eden?
I've heard different reasons, but my favorite one is that she wanted to fuck on top.
Yes, that's the one I've heard too. And she actually is not made of a rib from Adam. So she actually was her own individual person.
Right, and they were like co-created and stuff. And a lot of people use her because after she was kicked out of the garden, she was like doomed to like feast on the blood of children or something like that. So a lot of people tie Lilith to like the, you know, like different vampire mythologies and stuff. And
right, it's still to this day it's a very common like vampiric name.
Right. So,
you know, and well, a lot of like xenofeminism tends to identify with the non-human, because to be human is to give in to these different systems.
She's almost just a female analog for Satan, honestly. She's a transgressor. She believed that she knew better than God. She knew it was against the rules to fucking hop on top, but she wanted to do it fucking anyway. She's a rebel. That's why people
imagine how cock-blocked you feel if you're Adam.
I mean, yeah. Well,
Adam. Apparently he didn't like it, you know? I mean, I don't know.
Nah,
I don't really get it because like
God told him he didn't like it. Adam was like, oh.
I was like, oh, yeah, totally, dude. I hate this. Me laying back and her doing all the work. Fuck that. You know, that's that's misery.
Yeah, just like God shows up and like Adam is in like a harness being led around, like walked like a dog by Lilith.
Yep.
And God just comes in there and ruins their good time.
It's like, no, this isn't what I intended.
That's no, but in more serious terms, yeah, no, like the concept of being the other, of being the devil, is very
get out of here, Spinosaurus. You know what? Fuck off. Get out of here. Shoo. Everything. I mean, literally everything was reasonably intelligent until your stupid ass showed up with your dumb fucking retarded fucking tape.
I know. The Christianity arc has to end, Spino.
Yeah, well, like just do something else.
You got to stop, man.
Sorry.
So, but that was ultimately, that's what I'm getting at, is this totalizing logic that we see within humanist thought. Like we see it within capitalism, we see it everywhere. I'm gonna throw around another term.
What do you mean by what? Sorry, what do you mean by totalizing?
Totalizing? Yeah. Totalizing refers to trying to put everything like in a box, trying to understand. Like you're forcing all these different understandings into a box. This is one of the problems that transphobe have with gender.
Right.
You know, because it's
sure.
not so simple. It's not just a box. You know what I mean? They say, oh, it's XY chromosomes. I'm pretty sure we had gender before we even knew what XY chromosomes were. In
Right,
fact,
so
I know
just
that
like-
to be the case.
Just like being like everything, this is how it is, and that's that's that basically. Got it.
Right, yeah. In a layman's sense, that's what it
Yeah.
is. And I'm particularly an error theorist. Again, I'm throwing around words that you might not know, but error theory is like this rejection of the ability to know everything. I think if you try to know everything or even try to comprehend that, you're delving into a totalizing logic, which in turn will turn into a fascising logic. And that's ultimately how I feel about.
Be
That's
sure
just
not
some-
to
that's
feed
just-
the mogwai after midnight.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
just some Socrates shit, right? Which is the only thing I know is that I know nothing kind of shit. Or is that Aristotle that said that? Well, I think it was Aristotle that said it anyway, because I don't think Socrates existed. But
Well, do we know if Aristotle existed?
I think we have a better idea that Aristotle existed, but I'm pretty sure Socrates is just a
A parable.
just like
or
a
something,
parable, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
even if he did exist, we don't know more. So,
Well, what do they say? Like, you truly die when people forget about you?
I guess.
What if he never lived, though? Say,
I think you truly die when you die, personally. But
Yeah, probably. That's probably the case. But talking about like xenofeminism and relating to the non-human, I think that's what a lot of, especially for like queer people, because in a lot of xenofeminism, Lilith is the first queer woman
why?
because she didn't fit the archetypal structure of a woman at
But
the
she
time.
should have been like, I don't even want Adam's dick. Make me, give me some of that. You make me a woman. I want
Well,
another.
we don't know
woman.
if she was. I guess was she taking Adam's dick? I guess if she was riding on top of him, she
She's trying to
probably
ride
was.
on top. So,
well, that's the thing.
I don't know, but what
This
if
just
she
comes
had
from
like
another,
him in a
like from
chastity
a
cage? And,
from
like,
a medieval perspective, a woman riding on top was a masculine expression in a woman.
well, not only that, like she's trying to get pleasure for herself
why.
at that point.
But
too, so.
yeah, I mean that's why she's considered queer as a
Lilith
literary
totally
character.
pegged Adam.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she did. I don't know what they would have had that could have been used for that as a tree branch or something. That sounds like it wouldn't work out too well. I don't know though.
I don't know what
I understand. She was sexually transgressive, and that is what queerness really means. It doesn't. Queerness is broadly not necessarily being attracted to, like having homosexual attraction or whatever. Queerness is being sexually transgressive.
Got it.
And that goes, now things are a lot more liberal, but in not too recent or not too distant human history, just something simple like a woman fucking hopping on top and riding it out for a little bit was incredibly transgressive, seen as feminizing to the man, masculinizing to the woman, seen as just like a violation of gender roles and dynamics,
which I personally don't get, because again, having a dummy mommy is like the best thing ever.
I mean, that sounds just spoken like a true degenerate. Spoken like a true transgressive.
TJ knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I've been dommed before. You know what I mean? I liked it. Was into it.
Right. That makes you one of us, Paul.
One of us. Gooble gobble.
What is the I feel like this conversation has gotten to a point where I don't really know. Like, what are we getting at here?
Man, see, this is what I'm talking about, TJ. You got to let go of this need for fucking meaning in every goddamn thing.
Okay.
Sometimes a conversation, TJ, sometimes it just is, man.
Yeah, we do got to keep in mind this is ideology.
I just want to know the object of the conversation.
We're sitting around, like we're basically a bunch of bonobos sitting around in a tree. You're eating all the bananas.
Is that
we're
a
discussing
blizzard?
the fucking we're discussing the politics of the fucking jungle, bro. You saw a marmot fucking another male marmot, and it made you're like, whoa, you know, like what happened with that? And we're going like, look, dude, let's like marmots do that.
I exchanged capital for this blizzard.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, you did. You
pretty capitalist
participated.
blizzard.
And look at that fucking big plastic spoon that's going to go right in the ocean when you're done with it.
Amen.
Well, if you think about it, a lot of sugars and a lot of foods in general in the United States is actually substituted by like soy products. And soy products do have an it has a
androgen
effect on people.
Cool.
So yeah, dude, you're gonna start growing milk if you keep eating that, TJ.
I mean, I already got titties.
I know. They're gonna start leaking milk, dude.
Do you think it'll be good? Can I put it
Guy
in my
don't come
coffee?
after
I've heard, I have not ever tasted breast milk, but I've heard through the grapevine that shit is like fucking nectar, dude. It's the nectar of the gods.
Cool.
I've heard it's
Well,
sweet.
I imagine it would be, right? Because it like would probably like bring us back to our like baby years. Like it would like engender something in us that we haven't felt since we're a baby.
I've just heard it from the grapevine. Like I said, I've never as an adult, obviously as a child, I tasted the sweet nectar, but I can't remember it. I was weaned off the teat before I could make memories.
Well, what was your first memory, Paul?
My very first thing that I can remember, like the earliest memory I have is sitting on my grandma's lap, my mom's mom.
How old do you imagine yourself in this memory?
3 or 4, maybe somewhere in there. I was sitting on her lap. She was smoking a cigarette. And I was looking up.
Oh, that's lovely.
Was leaning back and looking up, and she had a cigarette. And I tried to
Did
reach
she blow
for
the
it.
smoke in your face?
No, she was just holding me in her lap. And then we were like, look, dude, it was the fucking 80s. It was common. People didn't look at it the same way they'd look at it now. You know what I mean? It's pretty fucking common. And I remember like leaning back so I could look up at her, and I remember seeing her face from that angle and reaching for the cigarette, like trying to grab it. And she said, "No, hot caca." That was actually my first words, was hot caca, which I think it fits me. That's my first memory.
TJ, what's your first memory?
I don't know.
You don't remember what the earliest thing that you can clearly remember?
I just don't. I mean, I have some early memories, but I don't really know which one's first. But I think my earliest memory might be trying to catch a lizard. Like I was like
chasing a lizard.
Yeah,
like a little gecko or something.
It was
that's
like
such
like a knoll,
such a southern thing.
A knoll lizard. Well, it was California, so it wasn't that southern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got lots of lizards.
Yeah, I was I had a little playroom in the backyard of a childhood house that was like it wasn't really, I mean, it was like my playroom, but it was also like the back porch with it was like a screened in porch area. And there was a lizard out there, and I remember chasing it. I guess I was probably 3, maybe. So
all right, so I have so this all is like one memory in my mind. The first memory that I have was being a baby and my dad changing my diaper, and I was laying on the floor when he was doing it. And then I remember closing my eyes and then opening them back up. And I was probably like 5 years old, laying in the back of my mom's SUV. And the first thought that came to my head was Darth Vader's Luke's father.
Cool. Yeah, he was too.
I don't know if I spoiled that for people.
That's true thoughts. He was.
Yeah. I don't know why I asked that question. I just thought it'd be interesting.
I was carving up my desk.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you should. That knife has got to be confiscated from you, TJ Stant. You can't be trusted with that blade.
No.
You're gonna cut your tongue one day.
He is. He's gonna fucking cut off a little pinky finger or something accidentally. Gonna lay himself wide open with it, and then at that point, it'll be fucking confiscated from him. It'll be taken and hidden away.
No.
Hidden away from TJ. Hide it from TJ.
No.
Hashtag Chelsea steal TJ's knife.
It's got my initials on it and everything. So
yeah, it's gonna leave more than initials on you when you fucking accidentally cut yourself with that
shit. He also
shit.
has a cocaine pinky.
Yeah, he does. He's got like a Coke spoon on his pinky.
I don't know. It's one of these little weird.
Yeah, a little sniffer. I know.
Yeah, I remember learning that, like, oh, people keep their pinky finger long for coke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we used to call that a coke nail. Used to see it all the fucking time back in the 80s.
Princess Leia had a coke nail.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
You can see it in the original Star Wars. So bring it back.
She was
to
heavily coked up in that during those movies.
Yeah. Good for her.
There was a lot of cocaine that drove a lot of creativity in fucking that era of cinema. There's a lot of coke being done. There still is.
Yeah.
Coke is everywhere. Coke
Anyone
came
read any
back
good
in a
books
big way.
recently? I've been listening to a shitty book by Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's still.
Are you listening to a shitty book?
Because it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger's little self-help book, and I was just listening to it.
I saw that at the store.
He reads it and stuff.
Got to plunge into the fire.
Yeah.
You have to face the fire. You cannot turn away from the fire.
It's full of pretty much the most generic self-help advice you could possibly ever get, but it's read to you by Arnold Schwarzenegger, so that's kind of entertaining.
I've been reading
a man
this,
walking on the beach grew tired, and he sunk to his knees, and he looked back, and he said, God, why do I only see one set of footprints in the sand? And God said, it was that time during your life when I carried you.
I've been reading this really obscure book. You might not have heard of it. It's called Fornicating Android Revolution.
God damn it. No.
Yeah. That is, I'm actually reading that too. It's by that new Arthur KJ Jerk.
Fucking goddamn it.
Yeah. It's
all right. It'll be done soon. Jesus Christ.
No rush, TJ. We're just joking with you.
Man, I don't need this. I don't need this bullshit. Yeah. All right. I don't know. I've been writing more on it because I realize it's never going to get done unless I actually fucking write it. So,
well, go get to work. Go get to work because I'm fucking tired of running this stream. I'm done taking. Look, I've been harangued by Nikki enough. I've been pwned.
Yeah.
I put in my place. I'm not a leftist.
I feel like Nikki never arrived at any sort of actual point, but it was still
that's just salt. So. That's just salt, TJ.
Not being salty. I just I don't really feel like it ever went anywhere.
You just didn't fucking.
But maybe I'm just trying to totalize the conversation or whatever the fuck is going on.
You are,
which is inherently fascistic, I guess.
So, just to end the stream, I'll give some reading suggestions for people in chat. I would definitely read some Max Stirner. I would read Fanged Numina by Nick Land. Capitalist Realism by Mark Fisher. The Xenofeminism Manifesto. All those are pretty decent reads if you want to get into like the extreme leftism of Nikki.
Nah, just wait for Sexbot Uprising. It'll be worth it. Don't bother with all that bullshit.
I have to give Fornicating Android Revolution. I give it 3 stars out of 5.
All right, I'm into it. Goodbye, everybody. See you later.